and listen to ESPN Upstate. Warning.
Man, check this out.
For an official Rob Brown lockdown.
Represents being real. Yeah.
Real, unfiltered sports talk manufactured locally for the Carolinas.
Lockdown!
This is the Rob Brown Show.
Yeah.
Only on ESPN.
ESPN Upstate.
Let's get it going. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, the big show is on your radio. This is ESPN Upstate. Hello, Upstate South Carolina. How do you do? It is great to be with you. Hope you are well. Hope you're having a great week so far. It's Wednesday, and you know what that means. It's time to have a little fun on the broadcast. I am the aforementioned Rob Brown, back in the network studio, pushing the button, switching the switches, making the show sound as good as he does today. He's in charge of everything. So if you love the show, he gets all the credit. But if you hate the show, he takes all the blame. He's the quarterback today. He is my guy, DJ Drew, on the ones and twos. What's up, fella?
Happy hump day.
Yes, indeed.
Ready to roll.
Yes, indeed. Midweek edition of the Rob Brown Show is here. Thanks so much for hanging out with us today. Very busy day on the broadcast today. NBA playoffs getting hot and heavy. I'm going to tell you coming up in a little while. I kind of have a new favorite player in the National Basketball Association, and I'm going to tell you who it is in just a few minutes. This dude has been great. But speaking of the NBA, here's a sentence some of you are not going to want to hear me say. It is now statistically provable that LeBron James was right about something he said coming into the season before it kicked off. LeBron had something to say about a major concern that he had, and he has been proven statistically in the data as being correct. I'm going to tell you what that is coming up in just a little while. Another absolutely garbage moment by power-hungry umpires in the world of baseball. I'm going to share that with you coming up a little bit and give you one more reason why umps are out of control and going digital is the way to go. So that's coming up here in just a little while from now. Team USA Soccer on their way to another friendly this evening. Tonight, they'll take on Costa Rica. Zach Steffen not available. That injury that he sustained in Sunday night's final of the CONCACAF Nations League has limited him. He will not be available as the Americans take on Costa Rica. But I'll tell you what else I'm looking for out of those squads coming up this evening. We've also got some NFL talk. Somebody brought up to me during last offseason, in the midst of this new generation of very mobile quarterbacks, somebody asked me earlier in the offseason what type of impact a rushing quarterback, a Kyler Murray, a Russell Wilson have on running backs in the NFL. And I'm going to answer that question coming up for you later on in the show, as well as some ESPN analysts have actually put together the numbers on that. So we're going to tell you what those numbers say a little bit later on in the show as well. So that's getting set to happen and a whole lot more. All of that being said, my man, Drew, it is time to get this bad boy started.
Let's do lunch.
This is a very nutritious lunch. All the food groups are represented. You guys are here.
What in the wide, wide world of sports is going on here? Lunch!
It is the lunch breakdown. The three things that you have to know before we go talk sports with our friends, family, coworkers, or the dog, whoever you spend your lunch break with. When you sit around the old lunch table, stuff off the stream on accident. Good job, me. Item number one on the lunch breakdown, a sentence some of you are not going to be excited to hear. I told you about a second ago. Ladies and gentlemen, LeBron James was correct. Remember, coming into this NBA season, a condensed season, a season that was sped up, a season in which teams had fewer games to play, but played many more of those games back to back, including long roadies. LeBron came into the year saying, hey, look, with a very short offseason, with so many games stacked up all around each other, injuries are going to have an impact on the season. And LeBron was spot on, and the numbers now bear that out. One more reason that we all hope sports can go back to normal as quickly as possible. Team officials around the league said a fix of this season in a COVID protocol season would have an impact on how players manage their health, and that has turned out to be correct. The average number of players sidelined per game due to injury, non-COVID-19 illness, the rest of the season was 5.1 players per game. That is to say, Drew, if you tuned into any NBA game this year, there were between both teams an average of 5 players who were unable to participate in any given game due to injury. The next highest season, this may shock you, was last year in the bubble, leading up to it and then into the bubble, 4.8 players per game. Both sides, both rosters were unavailable. The increase was even more pronounced when focused on the league's stars. That is to say, the NBA players who not only carry the most importance on their team, but also the most PT on their team. This season's All-Stars, Drew, missed 370 of a possible 1,944 games, the highest percentage of missed games by All-Stars in NBA history. According to the Elias Sports Bureau research, they missed 19%. 1 in 5 NBA games had an NBA All-Star missing. They missed an average of 14 regular season games per All-Star once you laid it out by the end of the season. Throughout this season, team health and health officials and executives internally feared a spate of soft tissue issues such as hamstring sprains. We know that James Harden exited game 1 of the second round series against the Bucks because of right hamstring aggravation. Similarly, Jazz point guard Mike Conley missed Tuesday's game 1 versus the Clippers because of a mild right hamstring strain. In the regular season, the same injuries caused Harden to miss more than a month, Conley to miss 6 games in February, and 9 of them in April and May. These types of injuries are frequently attributed to fatigue and stress of that soft tissue. Fear of an increase in these injuries grew more pronounced when the schedule condensed late in the season as teams made up for missed COVID-19 games throughout its course. There were 2,909 games in total lost to soft tissue injuries this regular season, according to athletic trainer Jeff Stotts, who maintains the most authoritative public injury tracking database that covers the NBA. It is the second highest figure that Stotts has recorded since he began keeping track back in 05-06. Back in 2017-18, there were 3,038 games, so about 29 more games. But keep in mind that season had an 82-game schedule instead of a 72-game campaign like we had this year. So you had 32 teams, You had 10 more apiece. You had an additional 310 games on that schedule, which makes this number a little bit shocking when it comes down to it. Drew, I make all of this information public for one reason and one reason alone, and that is to say this and nothing more. Gotta hope we go back to normal. I hope we go back to regular schedules. I hope we go back to regular travel. I hope we go back to regular television schedules. I hope we go back to regular season length. I hope we go back to sports as normal, because when you have NBA All-Stars missing 20% of their game due to injury that we now can statistically prove is directly connected to a COVID protocol season, a shortened but sped up season, it is bad for the game. It is bad for fans, and I think we have the proof of that in these numbers.
Yeah, and some just can't do it. I was looking at the schedule for April. I thought I worked a lot. April 2nd, a lot of teams were playing on that Friday, then Sunday, then that Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, and just kept going. Cutting back 10 games is by far not enough for the entire season, because in April, you are playing almost every day. That's insane. You can't do that on this level of play and expect everybody to just keep up the stamina. You have to have two separate squads almost.
Yep. And it almost, by the numbers, you almost did. I mean, when you got all-stars missing 20% of the games, when you go down to the regular guys missing 19% of the games, you do have to have platoons, basically. You got to have platoons of players ready. We're going to come back to that later on in the show. Item numero dos, to the NHL we go. And your Carolina Hurricanes, ladies and gentlemen, are done. They have been dismissed from these NHL playoffs. It is over. The Tampa Bay Lightning take a 2-0 victory at home yesterday. They beat the Canes in this series 4-1. Andrei Vasilevsky was your first star of the night last night. 29 shots from the Canes, 29 of them saved by Vasilevsky, right at that 100% save mark. Braden Point was your second star, the center from Tampa. He had a goal, as did Ross Colton, unassisted from the left wing. That's all that the Lightning needed last night, as they are now advanced to the Stanley Cup semifinals and await their opponent from the rest of the series. So what is next for the Canes? What do they do to prepare this offseason to try to run it back next season? It, ladies and gentlemen, is very simple for me. They've got to be more disciplined. Penalties crushed the Canes in the second round. The Lightning's power play was good. They were 7 for 16 on the power play, a 44% success rate when they had the man advantage. As Carolina got more and more aggressive on the penalty kill, it did not matter. Now, when the series was 5v5, the Canes were toe-to-toe with Tampa Bay. It was almost exclusively on the power play. Tampa Bay, 7 for 16 on the power play. Carolina, 2 for 14, a 14% success rate. That's it. That's the number. That's the difference. Now, the only other thing that Carolina could do, and it's out of their control, is to be healthy next season. We knew that they were at a disadvantage coming into the series with the Lightning. Nito Niederreiter was out for the first handful of games. He did make it back last night. Trocheck was out for a couple of games with a shoulder injury. He was back on the ice last night. Of course, even having both of those guys back, they were out of sorts. The timing was off. The chemistry had to be rebuilt, and it was too little, too late. This team has got talent. They've got an identity under Rob Brindamore. They've got a blue-collar work ethic. They've got the speed. They've got the skill. They've got the pieces. They may look, Nedeljkovic looked very good in the first round of the playoffs, looked above average in the second. When they did have to go to Peter Mrazek, he looked pretty good in games number 2 and 3. Not great, but good in the time that he served against the Lightning. It wasn't bad by any stretch of the imagination, but when the Lightning got on the power play, especially in games 1 and 2, they were just better. The Canes could not kill. What does the offseason look like for Carolina? It's two things. Number one, you are in the market for a goaltender with playoff experience. You need a guy that can go in there. Remember, we got to a point where we were asking questions. Do you go with Nedeljkovic? Do you make the switch to Mrazek? I thought you ride with Nedeljkovic. A lot of people said make the switch to Mrazek. Here's the thing. If you are having questions about which goaltender you're going to go with in the playoffs, then you don't have the goaltender you should be going with in the playoffs. You got to have the guy. You need the guy. Marc-Andre Fleury has been phenomenal for the Vegas Golden Knights. They get another one last night in a 3-2 series now. You need a Marc-Andre Fleury. You need that guy. You need the guy that you know is the guy. The guy there is no question is the guy. They don't have that right now. The other thing they've got to do, they've got to go find some penalty-killing defensemen. You don't have an option. Extend Dougie Hamilton and then go find a PK specialist, a guy that you can throw back there in front of your keeper in 5-on-4, in 4-on-3 situations, and know that he is going to shut down lanes. You get those two things figured out, you're going to be in good shape. One more thing they got to do. Rod Brind'Amour is an unrestricted free agent at the end of the summer. Him and the Canes have been in contract talks for the past several months. Carolina has a framework deal with Brind'Amour in place, but it's a lot less than some teams might be willing to pay for the coach. However, there is a hang-up because Brind'Amour wants to make sure his assistant coaches are taken care of as well. If you are the Canes, before you find a penalty-killing specialist, before you find that number one goaltender who is definitely your guy in the playoffs, step number one is to re-sign Rod Brind'Amour, the guy who built the identity for the Canes this season. And item number 3 on the lunch breakdown, if you needed further proof that the NFL does not care about you as a fan, they only care about the green in your pocket, then this is it. The NFL wants to expand its international series. Now they are looking for a partner city in Deutschland. Germany is their next target, the next place that they would like to host an NFL game. Now, Germany is interesting. Why? There actually is a pretty strong NFL fan base in Germany. We have seen a number of German players who have come through the league in recent years. But here's where I get hung up. I have no issue with the NFL's desire to expand, all right? They want more fans, and I promise you, Drew, that within our lifetime, you will see the first NFL franchise that is based internationally. The National Football League will have to change its name from the NFL to the IFL because it is going to become the International Football League. We will get a team in Mexico. We will get a team in London. We may get a team in Berlin or Munich in Germany as well, especially as we continue to see the advance in travel technology. There is rumor I saw the other day on one of my Rob is a nerd who can't get a date science websites that I read on the daily that there is a prototype jet that is being worked on right now with the interest of passenger travel in mind that would make crossing the Atlantic about a 6-hour flight as opposed to 12 or 13, meaning that teams flying from New York to London could make that trip in the same amount of time it takes to fly from New York to LA. When that happens, when that tech is available to where there is no disadvantage or not an extreme one outside of time zone for teams to fly from the East Coast to London, don't be shocked when we get a team in London or we get a team I could see Jacksonville down the line. Enjoy your time with TL in the States because at some point, it's no shock to me if Shad Khan wants to move that Jaguars squad to London. And the NFL now trying to add Germany to their list of places that they want to play a game is just feeling out that process. And they don't care what NFL team they rip a home game away from. They don't care what fans in the States they rip a home game away from. At some point, it will be yours no matter who you are a fan of. I believe Carolina has already had to host a game in London. The Dolphins have had to host a game in London. I think the Steelers did at one point. Your team at some point is going to lose one of your home games to host a game over in Europe, and that is why they are feeling out a move to turn it from the National Football League to the International Football League. I don't have an issue with that. I don't have an issue with the NFL having an international presence, Drew. What I have a problem with is taking home games away from teams, taking home games away from cities, taking home games away from fans to explore this process as opposed as opposed to making both teams have an away game, whatever the case might be. I don't like taking home games away from teams and the cities that host them to do this. No issue with going international, but I hate that it's costing fans here that have supported these teams for decades. I hate that it's taken out of their pocket to figure out if it's going to work or not.
Okay, that's fair. I was going to say, I thought, with all these things that they're adding for the fans, I have no problem with them expanding the fan base. So I wasn't sure what the beef was about, but that makes a lot of sense. Don't take away a home game. But nowhere on the schedule before has there been 2 away games for the same teams playing each other. So I don't think they even thought about that. I didn't think about that when I saw they were going international. Because I have no problem with it. But you're right. That is not good for the home fans.
844-477-3776. 844-GSP-ESPN. Text us on the Ingles Market text line at 71307-71307. Start your text with ESPN so we can read them on the air, and we shall. Tweet me at The Rob Brown Show. At The Rob Brown Show. Tweet us all at ESPN Upstate. Let's hit a break when we come back here in just a moment from right now. Look, I have a minor league baseball story to tell you about an umpire in a minor league baseball team. All right. And that doesn't sound like a whole heck of a lot. But when I tell you what the story is, you are going to roll your eyes. And you are going to take one step closer to agreeing with me that it is time to start implementing electronic officiating in games. Why? Don't worry, amigo. I'm going to tell you in about 3 minutes. Stick around. It's the Rob Brown Show. This is ESPN Upstate.
Straight out of the gate is QC Kinetics.
The Rob Brown Show. Listen on your Amazon or Google smart speaker. Just say, play ESPN Upstate.
Our friends at QC Kinetics right here in the Ville are happy to help you. Well, how do they help me, Rob? I'm glad you asked. Person who has chronic joint pain like I do. Person who has to get up every morning and stretch and get those joints working because you know that it's going to be a day of discomfort. Person who used to love heading down to the local gymnasium, strapping on the Nikes and throwing down a few points in pickup game, but now you can't do it anymore because you know you're going to be hurting for a week afterwards. They're here for you. How about you, who wants to be able to just pick up your grandkids and celebrate and smile with them? How about you? You want to feel better? Good news for you. You go see my friends at QC Kinetics, and their non-surgical regenerative therapies are going to help you feel better, faster, easier, without surgery. That's the great part. You don't have to get sliced and diced. You don't have to take any drugs. They perform the inpatient procedure right there with Dr. Richard Schaefer, MD, in their offices. You don't have to go anywhere. You want to learn about the science? That's what I do. I want to learn the science of everything. I'm a dork. Judge me. Go to the website at qckinetics.com, qckinetics.com, or give them a buzz right now at 864-448-3772, 864-448-3772. Mention the Rob Brown Show. Get yourself a free consultation and learn how you can feel better, faster, naturally, without surgery with our friends at QC Kinetics.
Welcome, Keegan, our main producer. What's breaking?
The chat has been quiet the last couple of days.
Yeah,
It was popping on Monday.
that's true. Which I had only assumed was normal up to this point, but maybe that was abnormal.
Oh, man. What a day.
Today's my last day at the warehouse before I'm off tomorrow.
Nice.
Yeah.
Catch up on about 14 hours of sleep, huh?
Yeah, that and
And fix
hopefully spend a little bit of time working on beer camp and ball club for Friday.
So you're here with me through the week, right?
Right.
Okay.
So I'll get off Thursday morning and probably not have time to work on it for Thursday.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I do have Mascots Business or Ball Club.
Yeah, no, that was great. Yeah, Keegan, I didn't get a chance to watch it last night. I went out with some of the dudes. We did trivia, obviously, and then I went up to Tetra Brewing with some of the guys from Swamp Rabbits to watch game number 1. Rabbits win
10 seconds.
2-0. They're up 1-0 in the series. But I'll be watching it as soon as I get off the air before I go do trivia tonight. I hope it's good.
That's upstategolfcard.com. Text us anytime at 71307. Use keyword ESPN followed by your comment. Local sports talk on The Rob Brown Show on ESPN Upstate.
The Rob Brown Show rolls on. This is ESPN Upstate. I am Rob Brown, back in the network studio. My man Drew's on the ones and the twos. Hit us up, 844-477-3776, 844-GSP. ESPN. Text us on the Ingles Market text line at 71307, or tweet me at The Rob Brown Show, or tweet at ESPN Upstate to get to all of us. Greenville Swamp Rabbits. Last night, game number 1 of the Kelly Cup playoffs, and your Swamp Rabbits, ladies and gentlemen, off on a very good foot. A 2-0 road victory against the Indy Fuel means Greenville leads the best of 5 Eastern Conference semifinals 1-0 in the game tally. Game 2 slated for Thursday night at the Bon Secours Wellness Center after a scoreless first period. Anthony Rinaldi got the eventual game-winning goal at 14:45 of the second period. Matt Bradley connected with Rinaldi at the bottom of the right circle for a quick chip shot past Indy goaltender Billy Christopoulos. After 40 minutes, the Indy Fuel actually had more shots, 20-16, but Greenville had the advantage where it counted 1-0 on the scoreboard. Sean Cameron would double his team's advantage at 4:43 of the third period. Alec Rauhauser connected with Cameron on a stretch pass along the left wing to create a partial breakaway. Burst of speed towards the net. Cameron buried a perfect shot in the top shelf to give Greenville a bit of breathing room. Andrew Bernard, a 37-save shutout for his first postseason clean sheet in his Kelly Cup playoff debut. The Rabbits went a perfect 5 for 5 on the penalty kill, including a successful 5-on-3 kill for over a minute in the second period. Final shots, 37-22 Fuel, but 2 of the 22 found the back of the net, and the Rabbits take a 1-0 lead. They return back to the well on Thursday. They will be looking to take a 2-0 lead and push the Fuel to the brink of elimination. Here's how it works. It's a best-of-5 series. It's 1-3-1. So if it was to go to a Game 5, that Game 5 would go back to Indianapolis. So by way of winning game number 1 on the road, the Rabbits just need 2 of the 3 at home. They've got one Thursday, back-to-back on Friday, and then back-to-back on Saturday. Win any combination of those 2 games, and your Greenville Swamp Rabbits will find themselves in the Eastern Conference Finals. Very much looking forward to that game. Great effort last night. Got the opportunity to go sit and watch the third period with a couple of friends from the Swamp Rabbits. Our buddy Tim, Sully, Scooty, and the gang. Got to go sit with them, and the Rabbits looked confident, man. I think that, we talked to Andrew Lord last week on the show, head coach of the Greenville Swamp Rabbits, and I said, hey, man, look, what's the mentality of this team? And he said, look, we're confident. We are confident. We know we're good enough to win this series, and we know we're good enough to get to the Eastern Conference Finals, and that is exactly how they looked last night. They look quick. They look confident. Even when on the penalty kill, they did not get out of sorts. It would be very easy to get out of sorts when you are down 5 men to 3, and they didn't. They didn't panic. They stayed in their lanes. They stayed in their positions. They moved the puck with efficiency, with confidence. They did not seem worried about missing out and turning the puck over on fast break opportunities. It was never that type of match for the Swamp Rabbits last night. They looked like a team that genuinely felt that they were in control of their own destiny, and you love to see it. You love to see it. So Kelly Cup playoffs, game number 1 goes the way of your Greenville Swamp Rabbits. A 2-0 victory puts them up in the series 1-0. They will play at home Thursday, Friday, and on Saturday. They need 2 of those 3 to go ahead and close up shop in the Ville. If they were to win only 1 of the 3, then game 5 would go back to Indianapolis. I cannot imagine that being back home in front of Bits Nation that they would drop all 3. All right, I call that shot. There ain't no way that they're getting swept in the house at the Well. Rabbits look like the better team. The Rabbits look like the better team. Indy did not look like a playoff team last night. I mean, they did lead in shots. They did put more pucks on net, but a lot of those shots were just kind of reaction shots. A lot of those shots were just kind of reaction shots. They were shots where basically Indy was just kind of slapping it out front. And that's not always a bad strategy, right? Sometimes you just want to slap the puck at the goaltender and hope for a lucky break. That's what Tampa did a lot of that against Carolina in the second round of the NHL Cup playoffs, right? You send a bunch of pucks up in front of the net. You hope to get a rebound, and you just poke it in. That's what Indy tried to do, but the Rabs never let them get away with that. Bednard was great in front of the pipes. If there was a loose puck, he fell on it and reset play. They won their faceoffs in their own zone more than they didn't and gave themselves an opportunity to clear. It was as good of a performance as I could have asked out of the Swamp Rabbits for game number 1. Now they come home to hopefully close this thing out right here in the Ville. Quick break. We come back here in just a moment from right now. ESPN analysts ran some interesting numbers. They asked, with the premiere of so many quarterbacks who are adept at running the football themselves, what kind of impact have they had on running backs in the league? Are we losing the importance of the RB position with QBs that can run the ball themselves? We'll take a look at those numbers when we come back. I'm Rob. He's Drew. This is ESPN Upstate.
The Rob Brown Show. Listen on your computer and tablet at ESPNUpstate.com. From the Ingalls Market Studio, this is ESPN Upstate. 97.7 FM Greenville, 97.1 FM.
How's the capacity there?
ESPN Upstate.
An Odyssey station.
Still doing COVID.
Hey, business owners, what if you could cut all your business expenses in half? It would be amazing, right? Well, you can start by switching to Spectrum Business. When you switch, you get the best internet and
been able to go see him
for
play,
half
but this
what
weekend.
you're paying now. Call 888-489-2212 today, and you'll get faster internet, proven reliability, and the most value. Only with Spectrum Business. Call 888-489-2212 today. Spectrum Business. No nonsense, just business. Restrictions apply. Call for details.
I'll put you in touch with
ESPN Upstate's Mark Ryan. Join me at Ingalls Markets.
Doing the timing on my schedule. I'm helping a friend move that afternoon.
This Thursday will be at
7 right.
East Main Street in Liberty. Brought to you by
Let me think about that and get back with you before the segment.
In this market, you'll find Fisher Investments is different than other money managers.
Fisher is different? How? Don't you just ride the wave?
Nope. We actively manage client portfolios based on our forward-looking views of the market. In times like these, we understand that clients want proactive communication and guidance.
You don't just provide cookie-cutter portfolios?
No, we get to know our clients so we can tailor their portfolios to their specific goals and needs. We even offer resources on Social Security, Medicare, tax efficiency, and more. Our primary goal is to help them achieve a comfortable retirement.
But you still sell investments that generate high commissions, right?
No, we don't sell commission products. Fisher Investments is a fiduciary, the highest standard for a financial advisor. It means we're there for our clients and always put their interests first.
So when do you make more money? Only when your clients make more money?
Yep, our fees are transparent, structured so we do better when our clients do better. Visit FisherInvestments.com to find out why investors like you are switching to us. Fisher Investments, clearly different money management.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
Whoop, my bad. Thank you for noticing that, Keegan. Let's see. Checking back on the chats. Look at the trophy Drew awarded me. Yes, I was able to send Steven his wonderful award.
So messed up.
So close, Keegan.
Look, he even brought the trophy. Even brought the trophy into the chat.
Absolutely gorgeous. So better luck next time, Keegan.
One of my old callers from back in Florida, Drew, is a truck driver who happens to be in the area today and just texted me for the number. So keep an eye on the phones because he may very well be calling in very soon.
Cool. I'll be ready. And I'll go ahead and say, doing the math, I better not. When I say I'm helping a friend move, it's the girlfriend coming from Atlanta. So that's going to be a trip.
Nice.
Yeah. So it is a big deal. So I better not do anything.
Hey, thanks for coming. Also, we're going to a hockey game.
30 seconds.
Join the Rob Brown Lockdown on Twitter. Tweet at The Rob Brown Show on the Upstate Sports Leader, ESPN Upstate.
The Rob Brown Show rolls on. This is ESPN Upstate. A little bit of an interesting bit of analysis that was done by some folks over at ESPN. We asked the question, well, the question has been asked, as we have a new crop of running backs that's popping up, right? We've had a new crop of quarterbacks popping up that are effectively running backs that can also throw the football, right? We're talking about the Kyler Murrays of the world. We're talking about the Russell Wilsons of the world. We're talking about the Lamar Jacksons of the world. QBs that can run the ball really well on their own. So they decided to take a look, both from an NFL perspective, a football perspective, and a fantasy football perspective, at how that is impacting running backs within the game. And if maybe you need to flip up your running back strategy in fantasy football, and if teams need to flip up the way that they view running backs moving forward, should you be maybe switching? And I've said for a couple of years, I really do think that with more and more running quarterbacks, you're going to start to see a bit of an evolution at the running back position where the Alvin Kamaras and the Christian McCaffreys of the world are going to become less of an anomaly and more of the norm. We're going to start seeing a shift away from the traditional style of running backs. I'm talking about the Mark Ingrams of the world, and start seeing a move towards having a more versatile, more mobile, more agile style of running back. I think that's very much on the way. I think that's coming down the pipe sooner rather than later. Well, they did a deep dive into the numbers. First and foremost, first thing they looked at as these mobile quarterbacks, who are they throwing the ball to, right? Are the running backs getting as many touches as wide receivers do when these guys end up running the football? It feels like these teams are rarely checking down to running backs, which kind of makes sense when you consider how some of these quarterbacks like Lamar Jackson can basically turn any outside passing effort into an easy run for 4 or 5 yards and flip the sticks over when they get the opportunity. It doesn't feel like running backs are getting hit with as many opportunities to catch the football as they used to. Well, J.J. Zachariason who is the co-host and editor-in-chief at FanDuel, did a deep dive on which position running backs are targeting the most, and he finds it kind of interesting. He grouped rushing quarterbacks into 3 groups. Quarterbacks who rush 50 to 60 times a season, which is considered above average. Quarterbacks who rush 61 to 90 times per season. And those who rush more than 90 times per season, which is a very high number of rushes for a quarterback. He did this on the Late Round podcast, and here is what he found. For quarterbacks who rush below 50 times per season, they pass the ball roughly 559 times per game, per season. Of those 559 passes, 19.8% of them went to the running back, whereas running backs rush the ball 85% of the time. For those who rush the ball 50 to 60 times, quarterbacks who rush the ball 50 to 60 times per season, they dropped by 10 passing attempts per season. So 559 for the average, 549 passing attempts for those who rushed the ball 50 to 60 times. 19% of the time they would throw to running backs. So that is 0.8% fewer times than quarterbacks who are considered average rushing quarterbacks. 82% of the time did the running back carry the football, which means that the quarterbacks who rush a moderate amount of times, 50 to 60 times a game, actually picked up about 3% of the designed rush workload. For those who rushed the ball 61 to 90 times a season, they actually only attempted 2 fewer passes than those who rushed it 50 to 60 times. They attempted 12 fewer passes per season than the average NFL quarterback. 18% of their passing targets were to running backs. So only 0.3% fewer times than they threw the ball when you are a moderately high rusher, and 1.1% fewer times than the average NFL quarterback. But running backs only rushed 79% of the time on those teams, as opposed to 85% on a normal quarterback's team. For quarterbacks who rush the ball more than 90 times per season, and here's the interesting number, Drew. Remember, NFL average quarterback attempted 559 passing attempts per season. For those who rush the ball 90 times or more per season at the quarterback position, these are, by the way, designed runs or runs that basically the play evolved to where it was a better idea for the QB to run than to pass. For those who rush the ball 90 times or more per season from the quarterback position, they attempted 489 passes per season. The NFL average quarterback, 559. So you're talking about 70 fewer throws per season. They targeted running backs with passes 17.8% of the season. 19.8 for the average quarterback. So 2%. It's not a huge number until you consider how big those numbers are. When you start looking at running backs receiving 1 out of every 5 passing attempts for an average NFL quarterback, and then you consider 559 targets for an average National Football League quarterback, right? 1 out of 5 of those. You're talking about 100 and we'll call it 15-ish running back design passes per season. When that number of rushing attempts, when that number of passing attempts drops down to 489, and only 17.8% of those are targeted at running backs, you were talking about a running back dropping down, Drew, I'm bad at math, but around, let's call it 93, 94-ish targets. So you're looking at running backs getting about 22, 23 fewer opportunities to catch the football when the quarterback rushes 90 times or more. And for those same running backs, In an NFL average system, Drew, the running back rushes 85% of the time. A true number one running back rushes 85% of the time. On a team where the quarterback rushes 90 times or more per year, the running back workload decreases down to 73%. Now, you're getting more rushing plays out of those teams, right? You're getting more rushing plays, but you're also getting the running back touching the ball on less than less than 3 out of every 4 design runs. So basically, 1 out of every 3.5 rushing attempts are a rush from somebody other than the starting running back. It's not an enormous difference, all right? It's not an enormous difference. But if you are in a league, let's say like a legacy league, right? Like a keeper league, where you hang on to most of your players and you do a draft for just a handful of players every year. If you have a running back that runs behind Lamar Jackson, Kyler Murray, Dak Prescott, Deshaun Watson, Russell Wilson, Jalen Hurts, Drew, that might be worth trying to trick one of your buddies into trading for a running back who maybe is considered a half a grade lower than those running backs, but the workload is demonstrably, empirically going to be heavier. They're going to have more opportunities, both as a pass catcher and a rusher, by about 10%. They're going to get about 10% more carries if they play behind a traditional average quarterback who rushes the ball less than 90 times per season. The point is, Drew, if you have Lamar Jackson, if your running back plays behind Lamar Jackson, behind Russell Wilson, behind Kyler Murray, behind Jalen Hurts, if he wins the quarterback job, behind Taysom Hill, if you have a quarterback who is behind one of these, a running back who's behind one of these quarterbacks who rushes the ball 90 times or more, it is worth trading away that running back and finding a new RB who plays behind a team who has a traditional quarterback under center, because that workload's coming up about 10% on the year. And in fantasy leagues where your championships are decided by a point or two at the end of the year, getting your running back an extra 10% of the touches on running plays for a team may very well make the difference, Drew. I think it's worth it at that point.
That is fascinating numbers. My head is a little bit swimming with all of that math, because at first I was like, you got to be kidding me, 2%, and you're making a big deal about this. But okay, you sold your point on that. You just have to be careful, because when you look at somebody like one of my favorites on the teams was Joe Mixon. How does Joe Burrow come into something like this lineup on the numbers? Could he screw a lot of this algorithm up, being kind of what he used to be in college, and he's still developing in the NFL?
Yeah, I mean, look, we know Joey B. Trevor Lawrence is in this group too, right? Like, Urban knows Trevor Lawrence can run the football, right? Now, we don't have numbers. We don't have what Trevor Lawrence is going to look like in Herb's system. If Trev's a guy that Herb's going to throw 5 to 7 designed runs into the mix for him every season, he's a guy that could threaten 90 rushes.
Yeah, but for a running back, ETN, I wouldn't trust that on a high draft anyway. And then you got James Robinson, sure, Carlos Hyde. There's just too many running backs sharing the workload for that team anyway. So you can't really add them.
I agree. And I'll tell you, I would rather have a starting running back who's behind a Kyler Murray or behind a Jalen Hurts than I would a guy who's a running back on a true 2 RB system, right? Unless it's an Alvin Kamara with Latavius Murray. I mean, Latavius Murray touches the ball probably 33% of the design runs. Alvin Kamara, about 66. It's probably more even than that. Alvin Kamara is still a guy worth picking up, but that's because when we talked about a second ago, the number of targets that running backs receive as wide receivers from rushing quarterbacks, Lamar Jackson throws the ball to running backs less than 16% of the time. Kyler Murray, 19% of the time. Josh Allen, 14% of the time. Dak Prescott, 16% of the time. Deshaun Watson, 14% of the time. Russell Wilson, the highest on the list at over 21% of the time. Jalen Hurts, less than 14% of the time. And Taysom Hill targets running backs over 19% of the time. All right? I suspect Justin Fields is probably going to be in that rushing quarterback. I think that Trevor Lawrence probably be in that moderately high, like 50 to 60 rushes per game or per season type quarterback number. If you have a guy in a true two RB system, I'll probably still take a true number one with a rushing quarterback over them. But if you can find a true RB attached to a traditional quarterback, just the numbers of touches in a game alone makes them worth pulling that guy over a 2 RB guy or a guy behind a rushing quarterback. Wait, go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Is Baker Mayfield considered part of that group? I mean, he's got Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb.
I don't know. I mean, I would have said before this year, yeah, but I would also say whether I rush a quarterback 60 to 90 times is also going to be dependent on what guys I have lined up behind him, right? I mean, if I've got those two cats, I don't want to run Baker 90 times a season. I want to run him 50 to 60 at most times a season. Let's take a break. Get back on the clock. I'm Rob Brown. Back in the network studios. Drew, quick segment when we come back to end the hour, and then we wrap it up. Head to hour 2 on the Rob Brown Show. This is ESPN Upstate.
The Rob Brown Show. Listen.
Do we come back with the cash?
So my understanding, and I could be wrong on this, was that we do that at the top of the hour.
Cool.
So starting the next hour.
That's different than last time then.
Yes, it is. Last time we ended the hour with it. I think I could have that wrong. I'll check with Hendricks in a minute. Yeah. But I'm pretty sure what we do now is I will tell everybody at the end of the hour, stay tuned. Starting the next hour, I'll give you the next hour's keyword. And then we come in, do the introduction. I will cue you to – you have the imaging ready?
I have the money, money, money song. Yeah.
So we come back. I will cue you.
Okay.
You'll run that. I will give the keyword, and then we go into the segment like normal.
Cool.
That's my understanding.
Yeah, let's do that for 1 o'clock at least.
Yeah. And when we come back, I'm assuming we're only going to have like 30 seconds to get it out. That's fine. Yeah. That's on me.
Man, that hour was jam-packed. Got a lot in there. Oh, and Diesel told me we don't do anything until 3 o'clock as far as hitting the top of the hour. So 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, you don't have to hit it right on because I just play a sports flash.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I don't want to go. I try not to go past it though, because a lot of people kind of set their schedule. You know what I mean? Like they hear that music and they know it's the top of the hour. It's time to kick off the next hour, whatever.
Definitely. Let's hope my girlfriend's not watching the stream. Well, first off, I'm not Mark Ryan. I don't just naturally say my girlfriend every other phrase, but it is her parents and everything that I'm helping too. So it's a crazy situation. But no, she's not watching the stream. She's out of town. $30 seconds. First break of the 1 o'clock hour will be Upstate Golf Card.
All righty.
IMS.com/joy.
Real unfiltered sports talk brewed locally.
Oh my God, a hipster! Bring him a microbrew, quick!
This is the Rob Brown Show on ESPN Upstate.
Rob Brown Show rolls on. This is ESPN Upstate, wrapping up hour number 1. Coming up in the next hour of the show, we are going to open it up with the keyword for the $1,000 cash stash right here on ESPN Upstate. When we start the next hour, I will give you your keyword for the 1 o'clock hour that you will text in for your chance to win a grand on the $1,000 cash stash. Then we make fun of another pitcher in Major League Baseball who doesn't get it. That's coming up next on the Rob Brown Show. This is ESPN Upstate.
ESPN Upstate, WYRD Greenville.
I cannot recall that comedian's name. Do you recall the line that says, "I do not have a girlfriend. I just know someone who'd be very upset if she heard that"?
Yes.
Who was that?
Was it Mitch Hedberg? I think it was Mitch Hedberg.
Yes, that was him. Well done.
Thank
Blast
you
from the
very much.
past.
Hedberg, one of the greatest, man.
Yeah. An elevator's never broken. Just temporarily becomes stairs.
I do not have a girlfriend. I just know someone who would be very upset to hear me say that. Dude, Mitch Hedberg was the best. I mean, just one-liners for days. One of my favorites was I would love to be a detective who solves murders by bow and arrow, because it's just like, go that way. It's like, oh my God.
Your Rob Brown promo's coming up next. 60 seconds. Do you want me to add anything else?
No, we're okay. We're late enough after we took that one over the top.
Oh, this is my favorite promo.
I don't know how to remove it. I'm here live. I'm not a cat.
I can see that.
Dan Scott was just laughing at that when that played on Saturday.
It was a lawyer entered the
Weekdays noon to 3 on ESPN Upstate. Warning.
And check this out.
You're on official Rob Brown lockdown.
Represents being real. Yeah.
Real, unfiltered sports talk manufactured locally for the Carolinas.
Lockdown.
This is the Rob Brown Show.
Yeah.
Only on ESPN.
ESPN Upstate.
The Rob Brown Show is on your radio. This is ESPN Upstate, hour numero dos, right here on the show, taking you all the way up until 4 o'clock today. That's right, you're getting another bonus hour of Rob Brown filling in for the first hour of Offsides with Mark Ryan, without Mark Ryan with Rob Brown. So 3 more hours of this sports talk excellence that's hitting you right in the ear holes this very moment. Look, we got a lot of stuff to get into this hour of the show. But before we do that, Drew, what do you say we try to give away a little bit of money. Yes, indeed, the $1,000 cash dash on ESPN Upstate is here, ladies and gentlemen. And it's very simple. It's your chance to win a G to do with whatever you please. Have some fun with it. Your 1 o'clock keyword is rock. Like, dude, wouldn't it rock if you just won $1,000? Well, yes, it would. Yes, it would. It would rock hard. Rock. R-O-C-K. You're going to text rock, R-O-C-K, to 72881, 72881 for your chance to win a grand in the $1,000 cash dash on ESPN Upstate. Last time we ran the $1,000 cash dash, we had 5 listeners win $1,000. 5 of y'all took home a K. We're trying to make that number 6. Text R-O-C-K, rock, to 72881 for your chance to win a grand. All right. Earlier in the week, and you'll remember this, Drew, because, well, it was nothing short of hilarious. Earlier in the week, we made fun of Dodgers pitcher we made fun of Dodgers pitcher Trevor Bauer. And we made fun of Trevor Bauer because a couple of weeks after the MLB said, hey, we're going to start cracking down on dudes who doctor the ball, dudes who use a foreign substance to doctor the ball. We're going to start cracking down on that a little bit. And they started looking, and Trevor Bauer suddenly, inexplicably, had the spin rate on the baseball come down dramatically. His breaking ball lost some bite. He went out against the Braves last weekend and got shellacked as the Braves took 2 or 3 away from the Dodgers. And he's not the only one. But he made himself sound, well, frankly, silly. Why? Because he got asked point blank, hey, since this announcement, you guys suddenly found yourself in a spot where you're getting beat. Your spin rate's down. Your pitch effectiveness is down. Were you doctoring the ball? And Drew and I had a little fun because Trevor Bauer said, well, it's humid in Atlanta, y'all. It's humid in Atlanta. And we made the joke that, hey, if you rob a bank and the feds call you and say, hey, we have reason to believe you robbed the bank. Did you rob the bank? Do you know what you tell the feds? Even if you rob the bank, you say, no, we didn't rob the bank. Because here's the thing. If you did rob the bank and you say, well, I didn't rob any banks in 2018, I mean, you're going to get caught anyway, right? So lie and get out of trouble. I don't advocate for this very often, Drew. I don't advocate for lying. I don't advocate for telling people untruths in order to prevent you from owning up to the consequences of your action. But if you're in Trevor Bauer's spot, lie. Say no. Well, Gerrit Cole is a pitcher for the New York Yankees. And Gerrit Cole had his opportunity when he was on the microphone after the Yankees game. Gerrit Cole, who is one of the biggest names off the hill in all of MLB, was asked if Gerrit Cole uses a substance called spider tack. And here is how that beautiful little interaction played out in the Yankees post-game press conference.
Well, pitching.
I don't know. I don't know if I don't quite know how to answer that, to be honest.
Okay, stop. Let's try that again, Gerrit Cole. Here, Drew. I didn't tell you I was going to do this, but I want to role play this a little bit. All right. So, For the sake of discussion, Drew is going to play in our very dramatic reenactment here. Drew is going to play the role of Gerrit Cole, Yankees pitcher who, for the assumption here, has been using a substance called spider tack to doctor the baseball, give him a little extra grip, give it a little more friction in the air, get that spin rate up, get the breaking ball to bite a little harder. Let's assume, Drew, for our dramatic reenactment here, for which we are about to earn an Emmy, all right? Let's assume, Drew, that you are Gerrit Cole and you have been using spider tack, all right? Now, I am going to play the role of the intrepid young reporter who is going to ask you point blank. And here's the situation, Drew. I'm putting you in a little improv here, if you will. You are Gerrit Cole. You have been using spider tack. But, Drew, if I can pin you down to have been using spider tack, you have to be suspended for 2 weeks without pay. All right? So here's the press conference. I want you to do whatever you can to try to put off getting caught using a substance. Are you ready, Drew?
Okay.
All right, here we go. Let me get into character. Hold, please. Hamana. All right, here we go. Gerrit, great game tonight out there on the hill. Yankees come up just a little bit short, but you did go 6 2/3, handful of strikeouts, a couple of walks in there as well. Didn't really give up much in the way of hits, much in the way of offense, but we did notice that your pitch efficiency has been down a little bit. Looks like you've lost a little break off of the breaking ball, off of the changeup. Now, folks out there have been saying that you might be one of the pitchers who have been using spider tack to doctor the baseball. Gerrit, I don't mean to be pushy on this, but I do have to ask: have you been using spider tack to doctor the baseball on the mound?
No.
Holy crap! Would you look at that, ladies and gentlemen? Drew just nailed it. What? By the way, incredible performance.
Thank you,
Drew.
Thank you,
ladies and gentlemen. Acting. I put Drew on the spot. I put him in a role. I put him in a character. I boxed him in and gave him very little wiggle room. And he just put on an incredibly dramatic performance. Very well done. Now that we've heard Drew's dramatic reenactment, let's give Gerrit Cole one more shot at this interview. Here's Gerrit Cole. Remember, Drew's dramatic response was, no. Let's hear one more time, when asked point blank, did you doctor the baseball, how Gerrit Cole responded.
And have you ever used spider tack?
I don't know. I don't know if I don't quite know how to answer that, to be honest.
Drew, did you hear a difference between your answer and his?
Yeah, that wasn't good. Just wasn't good.
No.
Bad acting.
It was very, very bad.
As an acting coach, I would have a few tips.
Yeah.
No pausing.
First off, literally anything else when you are asked the question. Literally, Drew, this is the one time that no comment would have been a better answer than
right.
I
don't know how to answer that. I don't want to say yes. I guess I have to.
Now, Gerrit Cole gave more. And here, I'll go ahead and play you the full clip, all right? I'm going to play you the full clip. Starting from the beginning, Drew, for one reason and one reason alone, because it is hilarious. Here is the full clip of Gerrit Cole's answer. And when we are done, I want you to tell me, Drew, if the back half of his answer made it any better. Here's how the whole conversation played out.
And have you ever used spider tack while pitching?
I don't know. I don't know if I don't quite know how to answer that, to be honest.
mean, there are customs and practices that have been passed down from older players to younger players, from the last generation of players to this generation of players.
Okay, stop. Okay, stop, Gerrit. Drew, tell me I'm wrong. That made it worse.
Yeah.
That made it so much worse. Have you used Spider Tech? I don't know how to answer that, but what I can tell you is that there are customs and traditions that have been handed down from older players to newer ones. Drew, he might as well have saved us all a minute and a half and just said, yeah, I have, my bad. Because that's all he said so far. All right, let's keep going.
There are some things that are certainly out of bounds in that regard, and I've stood pretty firm in terms of that, in terms of the communication between our peers and whatnot. And I, again, like I mentioned earlier, there's, this is important to a lot of people that love the game, and this is including the players in this room, including fans, including teams. And so if MLB wants to legislate some more stuff, that's a conversation that we can have, because ultimately we should all be pulling in the same direction on this.
Drew, I don't say this often. Bro, I can't even with this guy. I can't with this guy. Like, I don't need to provide any further analysis of this comment, do I, Drew?
I just can't believe it kept going. I had not heard that audio. Everyone else had cut it off after the stuttering, but no, dude, shut up. Shut up. You could see coaches in the back behind the cameras giving the cut signal. Stop. Stop.
The only surprising thing about this clip is that the audio didn't accidentally cut out about a minute and a half into his 1.5 minute answer. All right, let's do this. Let's take a break. When we come back, Chris Lewis is the president of the Greenville Triumph. Huge announcement for the Triumph yesterday. We're going to tell you what that was and revisit that, plus get set up as the Triumph have another game ready to go on Thursday night. Chris Lewis joins us in the next segment of the Rob Brown Show. This is ESPN Upstate.
Coming up, Upstate Golf Card.
The Rob Brown Show. Listen on your Amazon or Google smart speaker. Just say play ESPN Upstate.
The 2021 Upstate Golf Card is available to you now. 9 beautiful courses around the Upstate. You are getting a round of golf at every one of them for just $99. Nope. Wait until Father's Day. It's on sale for $75. That's right. Between now and Father's Day, $75 gets you 9 rounds of golf at 9 beautiful courses around the Upstate. You're not going to find a better deal for golf anywhere in the country, ladies and gentlemen. Get yours now. Go to upstategolfcard.com to learn more, see the courses, get the details, and more importantly, just buy one for you, your friends, your family, your dad, your pops, your moms, your brothers, your uncles, your sisters, your aunts. It doesn't matter. Whoever swings the sticks in your family, grab them one now. Go to Upstate Golf Card to learn more. That's upstategolfcard.com. The 2021 Upstate Golf Card is available now.
AutomotiveMap.com.
Drew, I think that was my my favorite segment we've done in a minute.
Almost hung up on. All right, we got him.
Sweet.
No more live reads for this hour, so we're good.
Correct.
$30.
10-4.
Dispensing real, unfiltered sports talk every weekday noon to 3. This is the Rob Brown Show on ESPN Upstate.
The Rob Brown Show back on your radio. This is ESPN Upstate. I am Rob Brown. My man Drew back in the network studio in charge of all the equipment needed to make us sound as good as we do. And to the phone lines we go. A guy I am sure having a very busy week as your Greenville Triumph are undefeated on the season so far and set to try to maintain that undefeated streak on Sunday evening. And a bit of a major announcement yesterday for professional soccer here in the Upstate. The president of your reigning, defending, undisputed USL League One champion, Greenville Triumph, my friend Chris Lewis, joins us here on the show. What do we say, big fella? How we feeling, Chris?
I'm great, Rob. As you said, there's a few things going on here, but it's all not even good. It's all great, and I'm thankful that you're going to have me on again.
Always, man. Always. It turns out it looks good on my career to be able to interview superstars like Chris Lewis of the Greenville Triumph. It's really all for my benefit, Chris.
Anything I can do to help the cause, my man.
Done and done. Look, I want to talk Triumph soccer. And we're going to talk about and this is a sentence I haven't gotten to say yet. Here we are, first time. I want to talk about the men's side coming up in a minute, but I want to talk about the women's side first. What a huge announcement from you guys and the USL's brand new W League, a professional women's soccer league run under the USL banner. And Greenville yesterday announced as one of the opening franchises in this. Man, that's huge news for you guys, huge news for the Upstate, and huge news for women's soccer around the area, Chris.
Oh, it was great news and super exciting for us. It's a thing that just adds to what this club is doing, what's being built. And for this, it was really exciting to us because we felt like it was the natural progression and evolution for the club to get involved on the women's side. A big part of what we've been looking to build and really what our mission has been to bring joy and unity to the community through this sport. We think that this platform is going to not only do those things, but it's going to create tremendous opportunity for girls and young women, both on the pitch and off the pitch here. And it's just it's a great extension of the club and a way for us to be able to continue to impact the community in a different way and bring yet another great experience, both to players, potential coaches, potential staff members, as well as the community itself and the soccer that they can consume. So it was a big day for us. Now the next piece is going to be actually crafting the brand and coming out with that news, and certainly eventually news of the coach. And that'll be even more exciting because that for us, I think, is going to be a little bit more Greenville centric than the overall league announcement.
Can you give us a little insight? I mean, I tuned in to the announcement of the league itself and whose shining faces do I see? But Joe and Doug Irwin there from the offices rocking the Greenville green. And then again, when the announcement that Greenville would have one of the opening franchises in the USL W League, can you give us a quick kind of a backstory as to any knowledge you guys have about how did this league get going, where did the idea come from, and how important it was to Joe and Doug and you and the rest of the administration to get in on the ground floor of this?
Sure. First, it was absolutely imperative for ownership, for me to be involved. But it was we needed to figure out, one, what we were doing with the first team, the men's team, and get that squared away. And as that started to, its foundation was created and started to build out, we started asking questions about the women's side of the sport. Joe made a number of phone calls to the league office. Doug and I had separate conversations with different folks there. And as we were having some of those conversations, they said, "Hey, we're going to tell you something we haven't told many people yet, but we're in the process of working to unveil a women's league that will operate under the USL umbrella. And certainly, if you guys have interest in the women's side of the game, we'd love to have you guys be a part of that." Now, in the meantime, Joe was exploring a couple other league options for the women's for a potential women's team. And at the end of the day, for us, it came down to, we're League One members. We were a founding and charter member of League One. We'd like to keep it within the family. We'd like to support the efforts of, the USL ecosystem. We knew that some of our brethren in League One, and I guess you could call it our soccer cousins, if you will, and USL Championship, we're going to be looking at this. But as we were doing the research to whether Joe wanted to go down the road of bringing the Triumph into existence, a lot of that had to do with how is the game growing, both at the youth level and then certainly gender-wise, both on the boys and girls side. And the growth of the girls game in South Carolina is tremendous. We've seen it obviously nationally and internationally with the U.S. women's national team, but certainly even the success of the NWSL and how corporate partners and broadcast partners have come on board to support that. The trajectory for the women's side of the game is certainly on the way up. It's good quality. And with the base of talent that we have here, both from the college level to the club level to the high school level, we just thought it was the right thing to do. And it was a logical next step for us.
Chris Lewis, president of the Greenville Triumph, joining us here on the Rob Brown Show. Yesterday, the USL announcing League W, which is a women's professional soccer league, and Greenville announced as one of the initial franchises in League W. And you and I have had this discussion off the air, Chris. You, of course, as a girl dad, me as someone who has tried to be an advocate for women's professional sports around the country for years. This to me struck two chords. Number one, as a radio dude, yeah, it's great to have another professional franchise in town, especially one that I know is in good hands based on what we've seen the Triumph do over the past couple of years in their existence. But on a personal level for you, probably more so even than me, as a girl dad of a daughter who is playing the game and is working her way up through it, man, it's got to be exciting for you and for everybody in the organization to know that the hard work is pay off and we now have women's professional soccer here in the upstate starting in 2022.
No, absolutely. And I'd be fibbing if I said that there was an intrinsic interest in this, this new facet of our club. But it all emanates from, Joe is a girl dad as well. Doug's not quite there yet, but we all have wives and they're all sports enthusiasts. And, certainly within our household, my wife is as deep into soccer as any of us. And it made it even more exciting for us and compelled us even more because it hit home for us. And being able to provide an opportunity was something that was very near and dear to all of our hearts, literally. So, for me, a great first step, and I guess you could say this was a little bit of a teaser, but when we decided to go ahead and send the U17 girls team to the USL Academy Cup tournament that was held over Memorial Day weekend, that was kind of our first dip our toe into the water of this, but knew as we were doing that we were going to be part of this league announcement and ultimately later in the summer be a part of, again, the more upstate South Carolina centric announcement, when we roll out a brand and things. But to be able to be that connected to creating opportunity for these girls and young women in the upstate, and to create a bit of a path. Now, one thing they'll say, Rob, is it's not a pro league. It's deemed an amateur league. It could be in some cases and at some point deemed semi-pro. But for the most part, these women, won't be compensated. It'll be like summer league soccer. It'll be like, USL League 2 on the men's side. But one of the goals of it is to provide a pathway to the pros. And the hope is that along the way, whether USLW transforms into a pro league or serves as kind of the USL championship, if you will, for the NWSL, there's certainly those aspirations. And from our perspective, you touched on it a little bit, but, I'll say this is just the Irwin way, if you will. this thing's going to be run every bit like it's a pro club, and we're going to do things the right way and make sure that, everything is equitable and that we are taking care of things with the women's team just like we take care of them with the men's team. So again, it is to your point, and where we started with this question, it's definitely something that's close to home for all of us, and I think makes it even that much more special to see this announcement come to fruition yesterday.
Chris Lewis is the president of the Greenville Triumph, announced yesterday as one of the debut members of the new USLW League, a professional soccer league for women. Very excited to have a team coming to the Ville. Yet one more team for me to cover, and I say that with incitement and enthusiasm. Let's flip over to the men's side. Chris, bit of a delay from the last game to the next game for the Triumph as they get set to play coming up on Sunday. I need you to settle a very important debate, though. And I want to talk about on the field stuff, what's been going on behind the scenes, all that good stuff before we get there. But we had 3 weeks ago on the show, we had Dallas J. Dallas, of course, doing what he does, been phenomenal. Marios Lomos, who has been an absolute Superman on the front line for the Triumph so far, has been great. We had Marios Lomos on the show 2 weeks ago. Dallas kicked off a conversation I was not ready to have, Chris, when he announced that he might very well cut his hair before the summer gets here in order to make it a little bit more bearable. Marios came on, said he did not have permission to do that from the rest of the team until the season was over. And that kicked off a firestorm. Then Marios claimed that he had better hair than Dallas J and that his hair represents the Triumph better. I am going to ask you where you fall on that debate, Chris Lewis.
What I will say is I think you've used this before, Rob. I don't know if I'm superstitious, but I'm definitely stitious. I'm not sure that we'll give the okay, neither John nor I, for Dallas to do anything with his hair while this unbeaten streak is going on. So, DJ, if you're listening, my man, you may just have to keep using the conditioner and taking care of that flowing mane. With regard to the who wears it better, I think they have two distinct styles. As a person who is follically challenged, I don't know that I'm qualified to make a ruling on this. So I'm just going to go with they both have very luxurious, healthy-looking manes. They wear them a little bit differently. And what I will say is the last time I saw Marios walk into Triumph Stadium, he came in a suit. And, kind of to my former life there, he looked very much like a hockey player walking in. So I think he may wear it a little more, hockey-esque, where Dal may wear it a little more free-flowing.
Respect it. Chris Lewis coming in here with opinions, hot takes, ladies and gentlemen. All right, Triumph set to play Sunday night. They're on the road against North Texas SC down at Globe Life Park. That was going to be on 7 p.m. on Sunday. It has been a bit of a layoff since that May 22nd 1-0 win over Tormenta down in Georgia. Marios Lomos had the game-winning goal in that one. Now we travel down to North Texas SC before a couple of Wednesday night home matches in the month of June. So you got two things that as a club you guys have to address, Chris. A, you've got to address the layoff of a couple of weeks between matches. And then B, one of the longer roadies that you will have to go on to play a match. With both of those things in play at the same time, can you give us a little behind-the-scenes look as to how Harksey has been preparing this team to jump back into the rhythm that they were in before a couple of weeks' worth of layoff?
Sure. And quite honestly, there's no one I'd rather entrust, that project to and that mission to than John and the staff that we have here on the technical side. But, to a degree, I think the guys kind of went into a little bit more of training camp mode because we knew, there was going to be training sessions. We were going to be having those training sessions without a match at the end of them. So they had some time, they trained, they had some time to themselves to recuperate a little bit, rest the bodies a little bit. We had some guys that had some knocks and needed to get right. And, I think we're doing well on that front. And, now the coaching staff gets them back into their periodization schedule. They start getting back into the normal flow this week with the match coming up this weekend. So I think as was shown last year, we have an incredibly mentally strong group. We have a group that's incredibly resilient to challenge. And, this is just one of those things that you need to navigate. It is a little bit odd. Certainly since I've been involved in this, we haven't had, I think, 2 straight weekends with no matches at all. So it is a little bit different. It's a little bit different for the guys. But, again, we have a group that the mental part of the game for them is important. It's something that they work on. It's something that John talks about a lot. And, they're in the mode now where it's game week and they're getting ready for match week and for match against, what's always a tough opponent, in North Texas. And, it's, to your point, the travel thus far has been on bus. So this will be our first flight, which is a little bit different too. But at the same time, that may also help because it gets the guys would have had to change things up a little bit anyway because they'd be flying rather than busing. So now it's just about, they get into their regular match week training regimen and start to space things out. So I think we'll absolutely be ready. And I know that the coaching staff will be ready and we'll have the guys focused.
Chris Lewis of the Greenville Triumph, president of the organization, joining us here on the Rob Brown Show and ESPN Upstate, talking a little Triumph football as we get set for a match against North Texas SC. Has there been any talk of additional pressure? Right? You guys are undefeated through the season so far. Everybody's giving you your best shot or their best shot, trying to come after the champs. I mean, you're always going to get the best effort when you are standing on top holding the trophy. Is there additional pressure to maintain the undefeated talk? I mean, obviously there was the one draw with Union Omaha, but everything else has been a dub. Is there any additional pressure on this club to maintain that undefeated streak? I mean, look, likelihood is you won't make it through without dropping an L somewhere. That's how football works. But has the attitude of the team been focused on this, or are they just approaching it the way that they would have approached it if it was any other year?
No, it's business as usual. Each match is, kind of the stereotypical and cliche sports, phrase or picture from the locker room. You see the pictures of the jerseys and it's business suits are packed. Well, it's a little bit corny, but it's true. This is a business trip and the business is to go and get all 3 points. Right now the guys are focused every single match, whether it's in the upstate or it's on the road, is going and getting those 3 points. And at the very least, keeping the 1 point that each team heads into the match with. So that's what the focus is. Again, I know it sounds cliche and not some super insightful answer, but realistically, the approach is week by week. This match coming up is obviously a little bit different because of the break that we've had that you mentioned in terms of match play. Now, that said, the guys have been training just about every day and, with a few days off to get rejuvenated and refreshed a little bit. But it's match by match is how we take it. It's how the guys approach it. They never get too far ahead of themselves. And that's part of the mental toughness that this group has. So I think that they're just focused on Sunday and being ready for Sunday.
Chris Lewis is the president of your reigning, defending, undisputed, and currently undefeated Greenville Triumph. They will play Sunday evening on the road at North Texas SC at 7 p.m. That game will be on the CW 62. Chris, my man, it is always a pleasure to get you on the show, big dog. Looking forward to Sunday night. I will see you out at the Pro-Am this weekend, I believe.
Yes, you will. Yes, you will. I'm gonna have one of our players out there tomorrow for a bit. I'm gonna have Coach Harks out there Friday for a bit. And that said, Rob, before we go, because I'd be remiss if I didn't say this when we were talking about the W League and the women's team announcement. A shout out to the upstate community and our fan base, because if it wasn't for the support that has been shown by them through our first two and a third of seasons here. This might not be something that we would have done, or that would have been such an important thing for us to do. And certainly the league, we were one of the first calls that the league made about this. So a shout out to the upstate community, to our fan base, because of all of you, we were in position to be able to do this and felt good about going ahead and doing it. So thank you to the upstate. Rob, thank you to you. You're great. You always look after us and help us shout the message out. So I appreciate you, brother, and I look forward to seeing you out at Thornblade in the next couple days.
Always. Chris Lewis, president of the Triumph. Appreciate his time. Very quick break, very quick segment. Actually, a couple of very quick back-to-back segments before we need to get out of here for hour number 2. 2 hours to go after that. I'm Rob. He's Drew. This is the Rob Brown Show. This is ESPN Upstate.
The Rob Brown Show. Listen on your computer and tablet at ESPNUpstate.com. From the Ingalls Market Studio, this is ESPN Upstate. 97.7 FM Greenville, 97.1 FM Spartanburg, ESPN Upstate.
An Odyssey station.
If you're living with chronic joint pain in your knees, hips, lower back, and shoulders, I've got exciting news for you.
Emmett Smith, all-time rushing leader and Hall of Famer.
Now you can get relief from pain without harmful medications and surgery. Call my guys at QC Kinetics. QC Kinetics specializes in biologic therapies that can repair and restore damaged tissue. I'm talking about natural pain treatments now available, not just for pro athletes, but to people like you.
At QC Kinetics, we're seeing patients every day who suffer from chronic joint pain, but who desperately wanted to avoid surgery. We're treating joint pain with biologic therapies, regenerative solutions with long-lasting results.
Listen, it's all about getting your life back. Playing touch football with kids, walking upstairs pain-free, getting back on a job, and patients at QC Kinetics are raving about the results.
QC Kinetics. Call to learn more about restorative treatments that can get you back in the game.
Call QC Kinetics, 864-448-3772. 2 area locations. QC Kinetics, 864-448-3772. That's 864-448-3772.
I absolutely love my dog, but the constant shedding, not so much. But then I got a Swiffer Sweeper Pet Kit, and it is amazing. These super thick cloths pick up a crazy amount of hair. Just look at all that. And that was from just one swipe. And the best part? Sweeper's so much easier to maneuver than a broom or a vacuum, easily getting around chairs and under the couch. You're right. Now I can focus on you, not your shedding. Swiffer Sweeper Pet Kit. Because shed happens.
There's a lot of streaming services out there, each filled with reality TV, comedy, drama, and of course, superheroes. But there's one dedicated entirely to nonfiction TV and documentary films, and that's Curiosity Stream. History, science, nature, we've got it. Space, dinosaurs, big cats, we got that too. And pretty much anything else you want to explore. Go ahead, add some smart TV to your smart TV with Curiosity Stream. Go to curiositystream.com to sign up and start streaming today.
For the ones who get going when the going gets tough, and the ones who know we're tougher together.
Oh, man. Drew, the listeners are coming after you in the comments, man. Damn.
Rightfully so. Rightfully so.
No chill in the comments today.
I have one job and I'm not doing it. I am trying to tweet out this interview and hashtag Chris Lewis on it so he can respond.
Yeah, please do.
So hopefully he'll retweet it.
I'm gonna do the entire hour of Mark's show just playing that Gerrit Cole interview on a loop. That's all the last hour is gonna be.
Love it. I'd listen to it over and over.
Kidding me? It'd be great.
30 seconds.
10-4.
More than the scores, the ups and downs, the ins and outs. Real, unfiltered sports talk. It's the Rob Brown Show on ESPN Upstate.
Couple of takes on the Twitter and text lines at the Rob Brown Show on Twitter. Our buddy at Plaid Falcon, my man Jacob, hit us up talking about the running backs story we did earlier in the show. The numbers we looked at, running backs and how their game is impacted when they have a rushing quarterback. He says the circle of life. Quarterbacks are becoming running backs are becoming wide receivers are becoming sprinters are becoming basketball players are becoming tight ends are becoming trick play quarterbacks for the Jacksonville Jaguars, where careers go to die. Good take, Jacob. Good take. He also tweets in, it says, between Bauer's humidity comment and Cole's legit, I don't quite know how to answer that. Something tells me that they've been warned. If you lie and we find out, we're coming down hard. Yeah, that's spot on. That's spot on. I wouldn't be surprised to hear that. But also, look, if you go in front of the cops and say, I robbed the bank, they are going to take you at their word for it right up front, right? Like, it's not like if you rob the bank and then you lie about it, it's going to be worse. I mean, maybe perjury comes in, but you get what I'm saying, right? If you are standing outside the bank you just robbed and the cops show up and they go, hey, did you rob that bank? And you tell the cops no, right? Like, if you tell the cops yes, they're not going to go, oh, well, we'll knock 5 years off of your bank robbery prison sentence because you were honest with us. What a joke. What a joke. I think the first hour of Mark Ryan's show when I'm in from 3 to 4, Drew, I think I'm just going to play Gerrit Cole's interview on a loop for 60 straight minutes.
Yes.
No breaks.
I'd listen to that. Just over loop and over.
That's so good. All right, let's take a break. I know it's short. We got one segment left. Got to get back on the clock. Hour number 3 just around the corner. Rob, Drew, you. This is ESPN Upstate.
The Rob Brown Show. Listen on your Amazon or
I'm going to hit the restroom real quick. I will be right back.
You got it.
Keep an eye on the phones, Drew, because I think we should be expecting a phone call from a former caller.
All right.
And you can get it all back your way. Just order online with our free same-day store pickup or next-day delivery. Getting your job done just got easier. Searching the fun. This feature sponsored by Indeed. If you're Indeed with Indeed Instant Match, just post. Immediately get a short list of quality candidates with resumes on Indeed fit your job description. Learn more at Indeed.com/credit. Healthcare provider and only available at the provider's attorney's prescriptions and full subscription required. See website for full details and including safety information. Hey guys, good news. The outrageously expensive little blue pill is now generic, which means you can get the prescription medication to treat ED at affordable prices. And Hims makes it extra affordable. You pay just $30 for a month's supply. And right now, get your first online doctor's visit totally free when you go to 4hims.com/join. That's right, free. Zero copay, no scheduled appointments, no awkward face-to-face conversations to get your prescription. Hims connects you to doctors online who can evaluate you and, if appropriate, prescribe your ED medication. And the pharmacy sends it right to your door. Hims makes it affordable, private, and incredibly easy. Nobody likes dealing with ED. Now, thanks to Hims, nobody has to. And that's really good news. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, 4hims.com/joy. That's 4hims.com/joy for your free online visit. FORHIMS.com/joy.
Progressive insurance to be their best selves, so we cover them in our auto policy, and we created this self-empowerment series just for them.
You are perched by the windowsill, working on a truly epic hairball. A lonely bird passes by and instinctively surrenders. You are feared by birds.
Get coverage for your pets with an auto policy from Progressive. Casualty insurance company affiliates. Coverage for cats and dogs included with the purchase of collision coverage and subject to policy terms.
Goodyear knows the importance of keeping momentum. It's pulled from the air like a contested rebound. Filled with steel and fast brakes. Driven by deep breeze, hot cotton structure. Making the sky now
30 seconds.
This report is sponsored by JustPlainKillers.com. Opioid misuse throughout the COVID-19 pandemic has intensified.
You're back, right, Rob?
Yes.
Cool.
Oh, sorry. I thought I flipped my camera back on. Sorry about that.
No worries.
There we go.
Plainkillers.com.
Made for upstate sports junkies.
These pathetic junkies? Come on, look at them.
You eat sports like food every day. Get hooked on the Rob Brown Show, noon to 3 every weekday on ESPN Upstate.
Wrapping up the second hour of the show, Rob Brown, Drew, and you, 844-477-3776, 844-GSP. ESPN. Text us at 71307. 71307 is the number. Tweet us at The Rob Brown Show, at ESPN Upstate. Hit us on the Ingles Market text line at 71307. Start your text with ESPN so that we can read them on the air. Texter came in earlier. I talked about the fact that the NFL is looking for a partner city in Germany in which to host another NFL game, add another NFL game overseas to the roster. I said, look, here's the deal. I don't care if the NFL goes international, if they become the IFL, the International Football League. I'm fine with that. I really don't, especially assuming that in a handful of years, we are likely going to get to a point where air travel is going to increase so dramatically that international flights won't take but a handful of hours to cross the pond, no longer than a flight from New York to LA. It's a reality. It's going to happen in our lifetime. I have no doubt. That's the reason we've been playing games in Mexico, in London. We are going to see an international effort in the NFL sooner rather than later. There is no doubt in my mind about that. But until we are a step closer to that, I'd so much rather them do preseason games. I'd so much rather them do exhibition games that aren't, they aren't standing games, because you end up in a point where you are taking away home games from American fans, from businesses in cities that host NFL games. You are taking away from those that love the game here in order to feel out whether or not this is going to work. And I'll tell you, it will work. All right. It will work. One of the there's already a good NFL fan base in Europe, but one of the reasons that they have not picked up more is that they don't have a homegrown team to cheer for. And when they get one, they will. I guarantee it. I absolutely guarantee it. Texter says ESPN, with the expansion of the NFL, they won't really even notice a missing home game. Well, that's the thing, right? If they expand into Europe, then that team will have home and away games too. So that game that you go play at London, it won't be required of you to give up a home game. It'll just be another game on the schedule. That's how it works. Let's take a break. I got 1 hour left with you on the Rob Brown Show, then an hour to go after that on the first hour of Offsides Without Mark Ryan with Mark Ryan with Rob Brown. Quick break. Back after this for the Money Hour right here on ESPN Upstate.
ESPN Upstate, WYRD Greenville, WORD Spartan.
College baseball best of 3 super regional round action gets underway this Friday. The top overall seed Arkansas at home in the Fayetteville Regional tangles with NC State. Number 4 Vanderbilt hosts number 13 East Carolina in Nashville. In Lubbock, it'll be number
First break, we'll have Harley Davidson.
10-4.
Number 5 Arizona takes on number 12 Ole Miss. South Florida takes on number 2 Texas in Austin. It'll be Virginia battling Dallas Baptist in Columbia, South Carolina. LSU squares off with number 3 Tennessee in Knoxville. Number 7 Mississippi State battles number 10 Notre Dame in Starkville. The College World Series set to get underway Saturday, June the 19th in Omaha, Nebraska. Download the free Score app. Lightning fast updates so you never miss a thing. It's why the Score app is one of North America's most popular sports apps. That's your Sports Flash. I'm Chuck Sanders on ESPN Upstate.
Have you heard the Rob Brown Show?
He asked me, would you feel the same way about Dale Senior? Had Dale Senior not passed away on track for the race? The answer is, I don't know. I think there is some level of reverence for Dale Senior that comes because he did pass away doing what he loved, racing cars. And, I don't know if I would feel differently about Dale had he not passed away on a racetrack one time. But what I do know is that regardless of how he passed away, what I do know is even
Remember, coming out of the break, we've got the keyword. So have that bumper pulled.
Yep.
Perfect.
I totally forgot. Thank you.
Yep.
All right. 30 seconds before the intro.
Alexa may be sassy, but she can help as well.
Just ask and I will play the radio for you.
When you can't reach the radio, ask Alexa to play it for you. Alexa, play ESPN Upstate.
Okay.
And listen to the Upstate sports leader without moving a muscle.
Great idea until atrophy sets in.
ESPN Upstate.
Warning.
And check this out.
Your unofficial Rob Brown lockdown.
Represents being real.
Yeah.
Real, unfiltered sports talk manufactured locally for the Carolinas.
Locked down.
This is the Rob Brown Show.
Yeah.
Only on ESPN.
ESPN Upstate.
To start the final, the best, the Money Hour of the Rob Brown Show goes now. This is ESPN Upstate. Hello, Upstate South Carolina. I am Rob Brown, back in the network studio. Drew filling in for the great one, Lonzo, all week long. And as we have been telling you, it is time, ladies and gentlemen, to win you a little bit of... That's right. That's right. It's time to win you a little bit of money. How about $1,000 on the $1,000 cash dash on ESPN Upstate? It's very simple, ladies and gentlemen. You take the keyword clip. Clip. Nope, sorry. Rock, R-O-C-K. I got my 1 o'clock hour. Rock, R-O-C-K. You text that word to 72881. 72881. You text the word. No, it was clip. I'm right. It's a 2 o'clock hour, right?
Yep.
Yeah, it's a 2 o'clock hour. It turns out, and this may shock you, I'm an idiot. It's the 2 o'clock hour. So clip, C-L-I-P. Take the keyword clip, C-L-I-P. You text it to 72881, 72881 for your chance to win a K in the $1,000 cash dash on ESPN Upstate. The word again, clip, C-L-I-P. Text clip to 72881 for your chance to win a grand in the $1,000 cash dash on ESPN Upstate. Again, the keyword clip, C-L-I-P. Text it to 72881 for your chance to win a grand. All right. A lot of stuff to get to in this hour of the show, including a little bit of baseball. A little bit of baseball. I have two stories that I want to get to here as to why Rob Brown's crusade to get electronic umpires put into place continues. And I have made no secret that one of the reasons why is because regular umpires sometimes get all up in their feels. And it's kind of annoying, to tell you the truth. All right? Couple of stories, couple of reasons why. I start with the College World Series. Andrew Banfield was living the dream on Monday night. He is a player, a redshirt freshman for Dallas Baptist University. Stepped up to the plate with 2 outs in the 7th inning of a baseball tournament game against Oregon State. The bases were loaded. The Patriots trailed 5-2. The winner of the game advances to the Super Regionals. The loser goes home. Now, Drew, you're probably like me. We all back in the day, in our childhoods, some of us in our imaginations as adults have the dream of stepping up to the dish in a tournament game of some type. We, in our head, see the bases loaded. We, in our head, know that if we can drive in 3, it's tied, get a granny, we take the lead. We've all played this situation out in our head. Drew, you've done this, right? We've all done it.
Yeah, absolutely.
We've all had that fantasy, man. You're at the plate. You're down 3. Let's say it's, I don't know, the college regionals. Let's say you're the underdog. Let's say it's the bottom of the 7th inning. Let's say there's 2 outs. Let's say the bases are loaded. Let's say your name is Andrew Benfield, and let's say you get this situation.
How they respond. Benfield swings and drills it deep to left field. A grand slam, and Dallas Baptist takes the lead.
You hear the place lose its mind as Andrew Benfield knocks a go-ahead granny in the bottom of the 7th of a college baseball elimination regional game, a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Now, let's do a bit more dramatic acting here, shall we, Drew? Let's say that theoretically you are standing at the dish, bottom of the 7th, bases loaded, down a trio, and you knock a homer into left field, send it screaming over the fence. In your brain, Drew, when you live out this childhood fantasy, and that ball goes low Earth orbit because you popped it with the power of a freight train. In your brain, as you watch that ball sail over left field, how do you react to it?
I am in a surreal motion of tossing the bat aside and jogging all the bases as slowly as I possibly can and jumping on home plate with both feet.
Correct. I can tell you this. In my head, in this fantasy world, I sling the bat. This bad boy flies into left field as if it's heading for Jupiter. And I, like Ken Griffey Jr., the bat is turned, touching the ground behind me. The right hand is across the chest. The body is turned, facing left field. And I just watch it. I just watch it. Because I have just done something that many baseball players have done only in their imagination in all time historically. Well, not what happened. What happened was that after Benfield knocked this homer, he turned, he watched it, he took four steps, Drew. He never even stopped. See, in my head, I turn and I'm standing still, admiring this moonshot until it lands 2 states over. I'm watching it till it's gone from sight. Benfield had the audacity, Drew, the rank audacity to turn backwards and take 4 steps backwards. Dropped the bat like a normal player, took 4 steps backward watching the ball fly, and the umpire, like a grown man who had just watched a teenager step onto his freshly manicured grass, runs, sprints out from behind the catcher, points at him, and throws his arm while yelling, "Go, run, go." The audacity of that player to enjoy a moment of his life that is a once-in-a-lifetime experience. How dare he? Grandpa, get out from behind the dish. If you think sports are not supposed to be fun, Grandpa, then get off the baseball field. It's a game. Get off the baseball field. This is supposed to be fun. All right? Knock it off. It was hot garbage. Now, I'll tell you another quick story about a thing that happened in baseball. Yesterday, there was another baseball game that took place in it was Arkansas. It was Arkansas. And there was a home run that was disallowed in the game, in a minor league game, because the umpire decided after this home run was hit. In fact, you know what? What the heck? I got the audio from it. I'll let you hear how it plays out. Long story short, there was a game that took place, and I don't know, I lost the actual audio. Let me go back and find it. Anyway, there was a game that took place. And in this game, there was a player that knocked a home run. The home run was, again, an absolute freaking moonshot. In fact, I know where that audio is. Let me go pull it while I'm thinking about it. An absolute moonshot. And the player made his way around the bases like a player does. And it sounded something like this. This was a game where Bobby Witt Jr. for the Northwest Arkansas Naturals knock a homer. And this is what it sounded like.
Pitch home. Witt swings, sends it high in the air and deep to left field. Martinez turning and looking. It is gone. A 2-homer game for Bobby Witt Jr. He sends the first pitch out of the ballpark, and it's 6-3 Naturals. Witt hit a 3-homer game on May 30th against San Antonio.
Now, let me interrupt right there after Bobby Witt's home run. Bobby Witt trots the bases. Bobby Witt gets to home plate. And Bobby Witt clearly steps on the dish to the point Drew, that the umpire of this game, after Bobby Witt passes by, clearly stepped on the dish, the umpire walks over, pulls the plate brush off of his utility belt, bends down, brushes off home plate, which is only done after someone steps on home plate and gets dirt on it. All right? That's what happened. Now, Bobby Witt has touched the dish. He's on his way to the dugout. The next batter comes up. Here's how it sounded after that.
At bats, as we play here in the 5th inning. My goodness, this kid is legit. 11 home runs this season for Bobby Witt Jr. A solo home run starts the 5th, and it's now 6 combined home runs between these two teams. So we play here in the 5th inning. That thing was crushed. 430 feet, 102 miles an hour off the bat. And hang on a second, what just happened? I was looking down at my scorebook, and it looked like they just called Nick Prado out. I missed it.
They did call the next batter out. And they called the next batter out, Drew, because they ruled that Bobby Witt did not touch home plate on his way by scoring his home run as official. Now, I have 2 problems here. Number 1, Bobby Witt absolutely touched home plate. You can see it in the video. It's very clear. Not only did he touch it, Drew, but as he was hopping sideways by the dish facing his team, he touched it first with his left foot, visibly. Then he hopped over it and touched it again with his right foot. He double tapped the dish, all right? Double tapped the dish. Now, in double tapping the dish, you would think the umpire, who was, standing right there, would look down and say, hey, he touched the dish. But the umpire did not. He did not. He didn't see it, which is, I believe the word, dumb and he's bad at his job. I think that's the phrase we're going with here. Clearly touched the dish, not once, but twice. And then the umpire called the next batter out and did not score the run because he didn't touch the dish. That is what happens, Drew, when you have umpires who get to the point that they believe that they are bigger than and more important than the game and the players that are playing it. It was a joke. It was offensive. It screwed Bobby Witt and the Naturals, a team that I didn't know exists before 20 minutes before the show started, a player I didn't know before 20 minutes before the show started. This is what happens when umpires get to the point that they feel that they are bigger and more important than the game and the players playing it. And I have a sincere problem with it.
Do they not have instant replay where they can go back and overturn a ref who is too blind and lazy to notice such things?
I mean, it's minor league, so I suspect that they don't have. I suspect that they don't have instant replay immediately available. But you would think. I don't think. And Drew, I am absolutely in favor of electronic equipment making officiating games easier. All right, very much in favor of it. That's a fight Zoe and I have had for many years. I'm very in favor.
I think I've heard that argument before. What is his argument for keeping
the human element? Same as everybody who doesn't want it. They like the human element. I like when the strike zone changes, and it's not how he says it, but he likes the human element. He thinks sports are games by humans for humans, and they should be dictated by humans, as opposed to if it's a ball, it's a ball. If it's a strike, it's a strike. If he's out, he's out, and if he's safe, is safe, which is the way it should be.
I think if you're just running the game as played, the human element will be the players, not the refs. That's what I go to watch a baseball game for.
Thank you. Exactly what I've said. That is exactly what I've said. And you were spot on accurate with that. And the fact that it's that big of a discussion is crazy. But here's the thing. While I'm in favor of electronic devices, I don't think we need to call an instant replay to see that a guy's foot touched the base.
I mean, I would be so enraged. I would take a lawn chair out there for the next home run and sit at home plate for 30 seconds and say, do you see me here? on home plate, touching. I will sit until you look and we have a full conversation. I would be so petty about it.
I can tell you straight up, I'd have got ejected as that player.
Yeah.
I would have gotten ejected as that player because I'd have walked back out there and I'd have sat my fat behind square on home plate for the better part of the next half an inning. Now, you can pitch around me. I want you to see what it's like for a dude to touch home since apparently you cannot. I'd have got tossed and probably suspended for a week. That was garbage.
Now, as far as
what happens when umps become bigger than the game.
As far as the first thing that you said, it does drive me crazy when people throw flags for excessive celebrations and stuff like that. Like, why do we play the game? We play the game to have fun. And in baseball, that has always driven me crazy, is where they watch the player. If he skips home plate on the way of a home run, I understand you have to touch all the bags. I just give the player the benefit of the doubt if I happen to not see all the way across the field every single bag being touched after a player hits the home run. Those kind of headlines just drive me absolutely insane. These people have played baseball all of their lives. We know how the game works. This is not a chance that he might miss like a free throw. No, he did the work and hit the home run. Let him have it. And if he wants to celebrate for a minute, let him have it. Yeah, the ump's human element in all of these stories is just unreal. I had no idea you were going to talk about this. I didn't know which way you were going with this. If you were going to have a debate about balls and strikes, then maybe I would have some reason to argue. And I'm in favor of arguing everything you say. You know me, I'll play devil's advocate. But my goodness, these two stories just have me enraged that these umpires have to insert themselves in the game at all.
But it's the human element. That's what we want, right?
No.
Quick
That's
break.
ridiculous.
We're back after this. Rob, Drew, and you. This is ESPN Upstate.
The Rob Brown Show. Listen on your Amazon or
Harley
Google
Davidson.
smart speaker. Just say, play ESPN Upstate.
Harley Davidson of Greenville. They are not only your premier Harley Davidson dealer, they are the largest inventory of pre-owned bikes in the Upstate. You are not going to find another shop like HDOG. Harley Davidson of Greenville has over 150 pre-owned bikes in their inventory for you. If you are looking to get out and tear up the roads of the Upstate, how long have I been telling you guys you're not going to find something better for you and your mental health than being on the back of a piece of Americana and cruising the Upstate? I've been doing it since I got here, and on a daily basis. If I need a break, the best thing I can do is hop on the back of America and take a rip ride up through the hills, through downtown, over to the Berg. It doesn't matter. You can't do better, and Harley knows that, and they want you to know it as well. Visit their incredible inventory of brand new, in-stock 2021 Harley Davidsons, including the new paint colors, the new finishes, all the top-of-the-line gadgets and gizmos right now at upstateharley.com, upstateharley.com, or at their beautiful showroom at 30 Chrome Drive. And this month is Men's Month. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. This month, if you go to Harley Davidson of Greenville and you buy a piece of men's equipment or apparel, you are going to get the next piece 25% off. Go now. UpstateHarley.com, 30 Chrome Drive. It's our friends at Harley Davidson of Greenville.
AutomotiveMath.com presents the Sports Flash on ESPN Upstate. Baseball Tuesday. The Orioles hammered the Mets 10-3. Tampa 3-1 winners over the Nationals. The Astros.
All right, so you ride a motorcycle, play in a band. Have you thought of anything to make yourself a real man, though, Rob?
No, I haven't.
Okay.
You know, I got into fishing. I thought would do it. It didn't do it. I got into hunting. I thought that would do it. It didn't do it.
Sports talk radio.
I got into woodworking. I do that. That hasn't done it. I drink bourbon primarily. I've gotten into that. That hasn't done it. I can't figure out what I can do to stop being a soft-hearted liberal and start being a man, Drew. The rock and roll band, the motorcycle, the hunting, the fishing, the woodworking, the shooting, like none of that. The bourbon, the steaks. I cook a steak with the best of them. I've done it all, Drew, and I'm still a snowflake. Can't help it. It's just my nature.
I'll tell you, I'll have to teach you a few things. I do theater and eat tofu. Ooh, Stephen Webb. That would make you a man, technically. You could not claim to be gay if you got married. At that point, there'd be no turning back.
I have a real life actual girlfriend who has appeared on the stream, and I can prove she's real.
That's great. You should talk about it. Tweet about it 17 times a day.
7 to 12 times a day. Exactly.
This segment, that's what we'll be talking about. Does Mark still have that older gentleman still call in for the girl who has a crush on him and all that? That actually was pretty clever. I would listen to those.
Oh, yeah, Brent Beard. Yeah, he still comes on, but I don't know if he's still doing his Mark Crush of the Week.
Those were funny.
Yeah, oh, yeah, absolutely.
Oh, he told Brent he has a girlfriend.
Oh, so
that segment had to stop.
Oh, bummer.
Goodness. Why can't she just be cool with it? Now, I have a girlfriend, but who still has a crush on me? You know Mark was eating that up. Oh, here he is. Go. Thanks for calling the Rob Brown Show. Who's this? Wes. Excellent. Let me put you on hold. Oh, his name is Wes. Is that who you were waiting for?
No, it's not, but that's
Oh, do you want me to find out what he wants to talk about?
Nah, that's fine. I don't care.
Okay.
I don't turn down callers.
All righty.
I don't get enough callers to turn down once I get.
Yeah, that's what I love about coming in here after doing all the news shows. Man, you have to vet your calls, and even when you vet them and give the whole description, Tara's like, "Yeah, nah, ask him this if they're going to talk about this." And I'm like, I can't control callers. Here we go. Thanks for calling the Rob Brown Show. Who's this? You said the king of what?
King of Smack.
Smack. Oh, I got you. All right.
Yeah, that's who it was.
Let me put you on hold. Sounds good. All right. He's on line 2. 10 seconds, and we're coming back.
10-4. We'll try to get both calls in this segment.
Join the Rob Brown Lockdown on Twitter. Tweet at The Rob Brown Show on the Upstate Sports Leader, ESPN Upstate.
The Rob Brown Show rolls on. This is ESPN Upstate. I'm Rob Brown. Drew back in the network studio, pushing the button, switching the switches. Wes is on the phone line. Wes, thanks for taking a minute. Great to have you on the show, bud.
Hey, Rob. Here's my thing. Why should you even have to run the bases if you hit a home run?
Yes, Wes. Yes, that's exactly. I wanted to throw that in the last segment, had it typed on the show prep. Yes. If baseball is so committed to speeding up the games, why are you even running bases, right? If it goes over the fence, it's a run. Let's just let it go back to the dugout.
I don't mind the tradition of it.
Because haven't they stopped now for the timing and all? If you want to walk somebody, you just say, I want to walk them. So they go to first base. You don't even pitch to them.
Yep, correct. No more intentional walks. If you're gonna pitch a guy out, you just tell the ump and you send him on over to first base.
If you're gonna do that, then let them just stay at home plate when they hit a home run.
Yeah, just let them stick their foot out and touch the dish and call it. I mean, why? Listen,
it's the showman. The showman. Let him run, but you do not call him out ever. Correct. He hit the home run.
Correct. As a dude, Wes, as a dude who loves the show in sports. All right, I love the showmanship. My whole career is based around putting on a show. I play in a band. I'm on the radio. I'm on TV. My whole life is putting on a show. I'm in favor of the show, especially when you do something in sports that's incredibly difficult to do, like hitting a home run. I'm here for it. But the fact that this umpire would, and on top of that, Wes, the biggest problem is not only did he do it, right, but the guy very clearly and evidently touched the dish. That's just an umpire who wanted his time in the sun, and it's a waste of the game.
Oh, I agree with you. I totally agree with you.
Yeah, Wes.
It's stupid. Yeah.
And I'm absolutely shocked by that, right? Absolutely shocked. Appreciate the phone call, Wes. Great to talk to you, big dog. Thanks for checking in. We are going back to my roots, back to the 850, one of my P1 callers, back when I hosted the Rob Brown Show in the beautiful Destin-Fort Walton Beach area. Now he is through the area. The king of smack joins us here on the show. It has been a long time since I have shared the airways with this cat, one of my 850 callers in the 864. What up, big fella?
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, ESPN Upstate proudly brings to you its 5-time Smack Talk champion of the world. Jenny says he's the baddest man in the land, and everybody loves Ville. The name of the man is the king of smack. Rob, how you doing, brother?
I'm living the dream, man. Living the damn dream here in the Upstate. I've got the 850 invasion of the 864. It's a good day to be Rob Brown, amigo.
Man, I'd love to say I was doing just as well, but I'm a Florida fan that's dating an Alabama fan. I have to call her daddy, and she's kind enough to hold my purse while I go to the bathroom.
Dude, can I just tell you, not a fan of your head coach at all. Like, I get why Florida fans are a fan of their head coach because he is a WWE heel wearing a visor. Nobody outside of you likes your head coach. Like, he's the dude that better win because he's a bona fide bad guy.
You know, I'll be honest with you. Yeah, he's a heel, but he's playing a character. Spurrier did it forever. It didn't matter if he was in Florida, South Carolina, like we just pretend he didn't go to Washington, but it doesn't matter. And the guy has to step his game up. I mean, look at it. He's got the head ball coach roaming around the stadium, just hanging out.
You know, the thing about playing the character, King of Smack, the thing about playing the character is you better be good at it. Don't get me wrong, Dan Mullen has been good at it. Last year, towards the end of the season, when he came back out of the tunnel after the throwdown on the field, who was at Tennessee, I think, the throwdown on the field, and he comes back out in the Darth Vader mask, and he's like ramping up the crowd and all that. I get how if I was a Florida fan, I would ride or die with that, but it's kind of like being a Ric Flair fan in that you know your guy's the bad guy. You know your guy is going to do some dirty stuff to win. The only saving grace is that he is winning. Dan Mullen better pull your squad together this year, pal.
I don't want to admit this, but I'm not very optimistic with Trask going in the second round, and, of course, probably the greatest tight end of his generation going number 4 overall to Atlanta. I'm not real excited about our prospects this year. I mean, we can chalk one W on there with FSU, but other than that.
So Florida State at the end of the year has a chance to be interesting. Mike Norvell, and I'll get your thoughts on it. Mike Norvell is slowly but surely winning me over. I was not a fan of the hire for Florida State. Of the last head coach. He came in. There was a lot of hype behind Willie Taggart. It looked like they had a little bit of attitude, a little bit of swagger. The only thing that they didn't have under Willie Taggart was points and wins. Norvell came in and kind of said, look, we're getting rid of the whole swag culture. We're just gonna go out there and play FSU ball. First year probably didn't go as well for the Noles as they would have liked, but you're talking about a guy who is taking that team with those results. He's putting together what looks like it might end up being a top 10, top 7, top 8 recruiting class. seems to be pulling all the right buttons, pushing all the right buttons for FSU. I don't know if he's in Dan Mullen's backyard yet, but I at least like the direction that the Noles are pointed for the first time in a hot minute.
Well, you know how I feel about Florida State. I want them to win every game of the year except the last Saturday in November so we can knock them out of the championship. But I want that game to have some relevance again. The last decade, it really hasn't mattered, and that hurts me. It says all you need to know when you pull into Tallahassee, there's a giant billboard on the side of I-10 that says 346 miles to high caliber football and has a giant picture of the UCF head coach. That tells you all you need to know. I'm not even kidding.
No, you're 2017 national champions, man.
No, you shut that up. That did not happen.
You're 2017 UCF Golden Knights national champions. I assume that means that the new lady is listening to you talk on the radio.
She's an Alabama fan. She doesn't matter.
Now I know she's definitely not listening to you on the radio. King of Smack, my man, dude, it's good to hear from you, brother. Parting shots for the new audience that you have just been introduced to here in the upstate of beautiful South Carolina.
Brother, it's good to be on the airwaves up there in the upstate. Glad that you could have me on. And, you know, the one thing in my life that I truly am glad is that I'm not Mark. My last name really isn't Ryan. How does it? I wish he was there so I could ask him, what's it like to bring your better up there with you and get overshadowed by the sexiest lumberjack on all of the Audacity app?
I've been called worse. I've been called worse. I will gladly pass that message on when he returns from vacation. Gladly.
Oh, tell him I said, hey.
King of Smack on the radio. Good to hear from you, fella. We'll catch up with you down the road. Let's take a break. Get back on the clock. I'm Rob. He's Drew. You are listening to ESPN Upstate.
The Rob Brown Show. Listen on your...
Next break, we'll have Prisma Health.
We have over 500.
"30 seconds."
10-4.
He's not messing around. Real, unfiltered sports talk on the Rob Brown Show, ESPN Upstate.
Yes, indeed. The Rob Brown Show rolls on. This is ESPN Upstate. I'm Rob. He's Drew. You're you. Thanks for hanging out with us. 864-448-3776. 844 GSP ESPN. Text us at 71307 on the Ingles Market text line. Start your text with ESPN so we can read them on the air. Tweet us at The Rob Brown Show. Tweet us at ESPN Upstate. Come at you, boy. Let's have some fun on the show today. So, you know what? I think it's been long enough. I think it's been long enough to do it again. Drew, am I overdoing it if we go to the Gerrit Cole interview again? Am I over? Is that too much?
Okay, I thought you were going to say something about the mullet challenge. I didn't know where you're going with this.
No, I didn't bring that back up too. But is it too much to go back to Gerrit Cole for about 4 minutes?
Nah.
It's not, right?
Nah.
Ladies and gentlemen, the voice you're about to hear is that of New York Yankees starting pitcher Gerrit Cole. Gerrit Cole, one of the better pitchers in the American League. Gerrit Cole got a lot of money from the New York Yankees to come in and pitch baseballs. And in the past few weeks, in which MLB has acknowledged that they are going to be cracking down on players who use foreign substances to doctor the baseball, Gerrit Cole has been at the heart of a number of accusations of being one of said dudes who has been doctoring the baseball in order to increase spin rate, increase bite on the breaking ball, and increase overall performance. Well, Gerrit Cole, as has Trevor Bauer and a handful of other players in the past couple of weeks, has been asked point blank by a reporter, "Hey, Gerrit, were you doctoring the baseball by chance? Is maybe that why your numbers are dropping a little bit in the past week and a half or so?" And Gerrit Cole, ladies and gentlemen, gave, and Drew, tell me if I'm overstepping here, the worst possible answer that someone could give to that. Now, we're going to play this in game format, Drew. We're playing this in game format. Here's how it's going to work. I'm going to play the audio from, it's about a minute and a half long. And we're going to play a game called Yo Wait. All right? It's very simple. I'm going to play the audio, and Drew, every time that you or I feel like we need to interrupt Gerrit Cole's answer in order to analyze what he had to say, you're just going to say, "Yo, wait," and I'll push pause on the video, and we'll discuss it in real time as we break it down. Are you ready, Drew?
I'm ready.
Outstanding. Gerrit Cole being asked if he ever used spider tack while pitching. Here's how it sounds.
I never used spider tack. I don't.
Yo, wait.
I don't know.
Okay. I think the initial response is, I'm sorry, use what?
Spider tack.
Use what?
Spider
what is
tack.
He could have said, what is that? Totally denied that he ever even heard of this. Has no idea what the substance is at all.
Yeah. There's your first out.
I chew tobacco sometimes.
Yeah.
What is spider tack? Is that a new something I could chew on?
There's your first out. Just to not even know what is it. All right, here we go.
I don't quite know how to answer that, to be honest.
Yo, wait. I do, Gerrit. Here's how you answer that. You go, no. There you go. There's your answer, because here's the thing. if you rob a bank and then you're one of those people who are dumb and you like hang out at the scene of the crime to watch the investigation play out. Plus, who suspects a guy who's still there, you know? You rob a bank and then you go drop the money off and you come back to watch the investigation play out. And you're standing there and a cop walks up because the cop had information that a guy whose profile and description you match robbed the bank. And he walks up to you and he looks you in the face and he says, Drew, we have a couple of witness statements that say that a man who matches your description perfectly robbed the bank. Did you rob the bank? And you had robbed the bank. Your answer is what, Drew?
Now, I'm not the quickest thinker on my feet, but that was a 3-second pause. And what are the wheels turning and possibly thinking of other than, oh, blank, oh, blank, oh, blank, oh, blank, oh, blank, oh, blank, oh, blank. No, absolutely not.
No, I didn't rob the bank. Because here's the thing. Even if you robbed the bank, like if you are honest with the police and tell them, yes, turns out I did rob the bank. The money's over there under that bush for me to come back and get later. The cops aren't going to go, oh, well, since you were honest with us, we'll go ahead and, let you go. No, you're still in trouble, right? If you admit to using the spider tack, you're still in trouble. If you lie and then later on get caught in the lie, yeah, they might add some games onto it. But here's the thing. Is there a difference? Drew, if you say, did you use spider tack? And I go, I don't know how to answer the question. If you used spider tack, then saying, I don't know how to answer the question, Drew, is still a lie. You are still lying because you know that you did. And by saying, I guess I could, if I wanted to lawyer this out, I could go, well, Rob Manfred says, Rob Brown, you're representing Gerrit Cole. And he said, when asked if he used spider tack, knowing that he did, he said he didn't know how to answer the question. I would say, well, technically that's not a lie, Rob, because he didn't know. He knew that if he said no and he got caught, he was in trouble. He knew if he said yes, he was in trouble. So he didn't know how to answer to not get in trouble. But let's be honest, that's the argument that makes people dislike lawyers, right?
Do you know what's not a lie, definitely, is no comment.
Right.
No comment.
Right.
That's not a lie.
Granted, you're going to open up investigations, so you better be damn careful about how you proceed in the future.
Well, he's in trouble now.
True story.
I don't know how to answer that question.
All right, here's the back half.
I don't know if I don't quite know how to answer that, to be honest. There are customs and practices that have been passed down from older players to younger players, from the last generation of players to this generation of players. And
wait, hold up. Drew, if that's not a yes, the only thing that could be more of a yes than that is just by saying yes. Like that, you can't be more yes without going, yeah.
Can you imagine if Tom Brady had answered that to, was air taken out of any footballs? There are customs and traditions passed down through the ages. He's saying yes.
Yeah. Yes, he is. He's saying yes. He's saying clearly yes. Here's a little bit more.
I think there are some things that are certainly out of bounds in that regard, and I've stood pretty firm in terms of that, in terms of the communication between our peers and whatnot. And I, again, like I mentioned earlier, there's, this is important to a lot of people that love the game, and this is including the players in this room, including fans, including teams. And so if MLB wants to legislate some more stuff, that's a conversation that we can have, because ultimately we should all be pulling in the same direction on this.
All right. One more take, and then we hit a break and go to Twitter trending topics. Drew, he says, if they want to legislate more, I'm good with that because people love the game. dude, you understand that not using foreign substances is important to people who love the game, right? Like, you are actively cheating the game, and your defense is people don't. Did you rob the bank? Well, I think it's important for people who put their money in the bank that they don't get robbed. Dude, that's not what we asked you. That's not what we asked you at all.
Do you think steroids should not be used, as that would be already called cheating? Well, that's a tradition, and those who love the game. Yeah, it's already been legislated. We know what the rules are. We don't have to discuss it. Yeah. It's there for a reason. We love the game, but we know you love the money. That's what we're talking about.
It's so stupid, and it makes me so happy. This whole thing is so dumb, and it makes me so happy. Let's take a break. When we come back, Drew guides us through Twitter trending topics, and we give you your 3 o'clock code word for the $1,000 cash dash on ESPN Upstate. That's next.
Prisma Health.
The Rob Brown Show. Listen on your Amazon or Google smart speaker. Just say, play ESPN Upstate.
Our friends at Prisma Health are the official healthcare provider for the Tigers, the official healthcare provider for the Gamecocks, and they want to be the official healthcare provider for you and your family as well. See, when Clemson has one of their top tier D1 athletes that need any sort of medical healthcare issue, service, help, whatever, they call on the folks from Prisma. So does South Carolina. And those two schools, historically speaking, don't agree on much. Don't agree on much at all. So those two schools have both decided that they agree on one thing, that when their athletes need health, when their athletes need care, they call in the folks at Prisma Health. Why? Because they make it easy, convenient, simple, fast, and secure to get the health care that you need. Your health's all you got, man. Have all the money in the world. Doesn't matter if you're not healthy to go out and spend it. Have all the friends in the world. Doesn't matter if you're not healthy enough to go out and do stuff with them. Have the best family in the world, but it doesn't matter if you can't go hang out and spend time with them. You better stay on top of your healthcare, and Prisma Health is here to help you do that. Go to their website at prismahealth.org to learn more. prismahealth.org. You can look through their more than 2,400 healthcare providers in their network and all the locations around you. Plus, if you need it, you can get a virtual appointment so you don't even have to leave your house. It's our friends at Prisma Health right here in the Upstate.
Download the Odyssey app and listen to ESPN Upstate and all the sports, news, music, and podcasts. For you and your people, everything possible to see that you can earn all in one place. It's the Odyssey app for ESPN Upstate. Odyssey is your new home for all the audio that matters to you. Download the Odyssey app today. All the sports you love. Listen to ESPN Upstate.
Check this story out, Drew. Yep. David Culley, head coach of the Houston Texans, has just announced to the media that the Texans are canceling mandatory minicamp next week. He said, quote, "We've accomplished what we wanted to accomplish," end quote. Right? Are you kidding me?
We're good. We don't need football practice.
Are you kidding me? That is insane.
I don't know what your goals were, But if you can accomplish them in a day, they probably weren't high enough.
1 week of OTAs and the awful Texans are Super Bowl ready, baby. Get the hell out of here, David. If you're a Houston fan and you don't see that the Texans are the worst run organization in sports, I don't know how to break that news to you. That's insane. Golly.
That is a Saturday Night Live sketch waiting to happen. How's our quarterback? A disaster. How's our running game? Non-existent. How's our defense? What defense? Well, let's call it a day.
Is our head coach confused?
You know, we're paid millions of dollars to be here, but I really just don't feel like being here today. Because we all know what a grueling season football is. Those 17 games in the middle of fall. You get the winter off.
Don't work on your conditioning now. That would be dumb.
You know, does anybody want to work in February? We don't want to be in the playoffs or Super Bowl. We'll get ready for the next year. $20 seconds.
Stand for.
.com. And now, the Rob Brown Show presents Twitter Trending Topics.
We start out with food trending, particularly Chipotle.
No, we don't, Drew. I'm calling the audible because this is the most ridiculous thing that I have heard in a long time.
We just talked about umps messing with baseball, but this is what has you boiling over.
No,
okay.
This is worse than that. All right. Umps, like, at least I understand the rules say you have to touch the plate. All right. At least I get that. All right. Jeremy Fowler of ESPN and Chris Gordy, the on-air and APD of Sports Talk 790 in Houston, one of Mark Ryan's contacts, have both just tweeted out that, quote, David Culley just announced Houston will not have a mini camp as it got enough work done through their voluntary OTAs that, quote, we've accomplished all we wanted to accomplish, end quote. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're a Houston Texans fan and you don't yet understand that your team is the worst managed team in professional American sports, if you have not yet recognized that the New York Knicks are looking down at you and your organization and how it's being run right now, I don't know how to break that news to you. Unreal, Drew. We are not having mandatory camps like 31 other teams in the NFL because in a couple of weeks of OTAs, we accomplished all we wanted to accomplish. So we're good. We'll see y'all for camp sometime in the next couple of months.
Just a little bit of life advice. If your goals are that low and accomplished so soon, you really need to aim a little bit higher. All of our goals have been accomplished. The entire team.
In 2 weeks of OTAs, we've got all we can get done this summer, boys.
You're talking about the Buccaneers, right? This is the Buccaneers who are ready.
Yeah.
No, it's the Texans who are calling it.
Won a Super Bowl and brought back 22 starters from that team, and they are still having camp. David Culley, you brilliant man. Your keyword for the 3 o'clock hour is stunt. S-T-U-N-T, stunt. You're going to text that word to 72881. 72881. Coming up here at the top of the hour, your keyword for the 3 o'clock hour is stunt. S-T-U-N-T. Text that word to 72881 for your chance to win a grand. Drew, thanks for your hard work today, buddy. See you tomorrow.
We'll see you tomorrow.
Me and Diesel got you for the next hour right here on ESPN Upstate.
ESPN Upstate, WYRD Greenville, WORD Sports.
Those of you on the stream, appreciate you hanging out. I will see you back.